So beautiful. Oh my gosh.
The lady who's good.
So weird. The effect's not quite the same on film. So we're on our way in a snowstorm to go try to find someone that's lost in the woods. You'll say a prayer. We'll open with Proverbs 18:10. Okay. Proverbs 18:10. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run to it and are safe. Proverbs 18:10. And we pray. Father, we thank you that you are a strong tower. We thank you for this opportunity to meet again. We thank you for the knowledge and the wisdom that will be shared here tonight. We thank you for your protection and your covering over everyone that is here and those that will join the stream later. We love you, and we just pray that this meeting be pleasing to you and that it have a purpose of showing people what they need to know so that they will be safer. In Jesus' name, amen. I am Lead Tracker E, and this is Jerry Lead Horse Williams. We have 4 Facebook pages: the Lead Tracker E, the Oklahoma Bigfoot Predator Watch Antlers and Surrounding Areas, the Predator Bigfoot and Spiritual Warriors Path, and the Choctaw Missing and Murdered Woman, WOMBMAN, and Sun Center and Database. So those are the 4 Facebook pages. And then we also have a Lead Tracker E YouTube channel that is a sister channel to this one. And we encourage you to check that channel out too, please, and like and subscribe. We have Standing Feather stories that we...
I'm sorry, I'm trying to get all this stuff done too.
I can just tell them about it too. They don't have to see.
Okay.
Standing Feather Stories is a series that we're moving over to the Lead Tracker E channel, and that's Jerry's stories of his journey from the Native American perspective as the last man standing at Standing Rock. And it's just different stories that you will see from behind the scenes that people never even knew about, and they're just really fascinating. We've had a really good reception on those. And we also have the Tracking Miracles and Encounters over on the Lead Tracker E channel, and that's just a place to talk about the ways that God has intervened or orchestrated in an amazing way, and we want to draw attention to that. So those are those real life stories from people. So if you have stories like that, get a hold of us. Our post office box is 655 Antlers, Oklahoma, 74523.
The new Spanish version of the Predator Bigfoot and the Spiritual Warriors Path. It's almost completed as far as we know. Just needs a little bit more, and then that one will be out as well. We do have some guests here tonight already. We'll get to our guests in just a moment after we get our announcements out of the way. The new book that we're working on also another one that's almost finished. It's a new Predator Bigfoot book. It's called Vessels of Hope versus Agents of Darkness. If you'd like to become a Patreon member or support the Tracker channel, becoming a Patreon member is a way, or Cash App. And I don't think we got super chats in that because we don't have any comments. But Cash App and PayPal is in the description below. We'd like to also tell everyone how proud we are of our tracking course candidates. They've taken their final test. Did we find out about the last one?
One was just sent in a few minutes ago.
Yeah, not that one. Crawl.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so we may have just one left that's out. We did get one in just a little while ago. You know who you are. Also, but we will have that graduation on Thursday, the 21st. So that will be at 7 o'clock. Also, so tune in for that. So we're going to be announcing the graduates and talk a little bit about the experience and things that happen in the course. And I think we're going to have a video for that. It was 5 months, so a very long time. But the test results said that everyone was paying attention. We got some great answers. We may, we're going to share that. We're definitely in the tracker meetings, but we'll decide on what we're going to share with the general public, because some of those test questions will be on every test, so we don't want to give any answers out without have people having to work for those answers. I think that's it for right now. We got what? Is that it, or what do we got left?
Well, we have a few guidelines for the
Okay.
meeting.
We'll do that whenever the people we have
Okay.
everyone on, so everybody can hear and see. Let's just make sure we check, because we got a couple people backstage. We just have to wait for.
We do have one.
Oh, we don't have to wait for them, but
Tracker B will be joining us, but not until 9 o'clock. And she has a letter that we have been waiting for quite a while, that she will read, she will share. And it's extremely important and definitely on topic for what these meetings are about. So be sure that you're here around 9 o'clock when she gets her work break. Tonight's questions are for and from those with personal experiences. And we have specific questions from our childhood to now that will help us arrive at our decision. We can make no mistakes with the future of our children, and only the truth can be spoken. We cannot let our beliefs, ideas, theories, or opinions interfere with everything presented to the meeting as we come to an agreement of what these things are. We will be asking the questions, and then we will, as we did last week, we'll have everyone, each person that represents their clan will speak on behalf of their clan and give their answer. We'll take turns so everyone will have a chance to answer, and we want to keep the answers as brief as possible and not fill in, because there will be more follow-up questions and also an open floor at the end. Fred will not be able to be with us this evening and for personal reasons, but we'll catch up with him next time and pray that everything's all right there. Okay.
we're just waiting for a couple people, but we may start just a little bit early. We're shooting for 7:30. We got about what time? 20 or 30? 20. About 10 minutes. Give everybody. We asked them to be here around 7:30. So let's give them just a few. I thought I had that flag down. There it goes.
We're going a little bit faster tonight.
Yeah, it's also because we don't have the chat on tonight. We're not going to go through the comments tonight. A lot of people didn't understand last time that there was just to listen and not participate. We didn't need opinions coming from the chat, and we mean that in the most respectful way. But everybody knew, if you were here in the beginning, you knew what we was talking about, and that we did not need anyone else's opinions, because we were talking just amongst ourselves. So we turned the chat off this time. It's only because we can't control the chat while we're doing this, and we have some of our monitors in with us also. So we got a little, a few questions. There's opinions last time, and that was a distraction. So we're just not going to have it this time.
Or even jokes or comments about a guest. We never want anything like that.
I think that's everything. Let's see. Yeah, because usually we'll go through the comments right now, so we're running a little ahead. About we usually get through about 7:30. So we still got a couple people in the room. We're still waiting on a couple.
And we'll have comments again on other streams, but the tribal ones right here. This is an actual a meeting, so that's why we just decided to turn comments off altogether, which we tried to do the first time, but we hadn't figured out exactly how to do it. Warrior Princesses is here with us.
Yeah, we've got a couple people showing up.
Good.
We got a couple in the room. We're just waiting. We do see that you're in the room. Everyone backstage, we can see y'all. Just give us a few more minutes. Let everyone else get here, and then we'll start.
Now, for those that answered last week, this will be the same questions to the new guests that are here tonight, so that everybody's got the same opportunity to answer those questions, and then we'll go to open floor after everybody's answered their questions. Yeah. So
yeah, just give us just a few more minutes.
it's nice to be ahead of schedule.
Yeah. Let's see. Couple here. We see y'all in the room, so just give us just a few more minutes. We're just everyone knows to be here at 7:30. And hopefully they won't be. Yeah, because we want them to hear what you have to say as well. Everyone needs to hear what each other has to say. Well, we'll have to wait till the rest get here also, because we want to also catch everybody up. Well, everyone was supposed to have watched the last channel, but the last stream, but I think one or two may not have, so we may have to catch them up.
Okay.
Also real fast.
And we're very glad that you were here last week, and for the guests that were, we got really good feedback, and everyone appreciated what you had to say. Gina, several people commented behind the scenes that their hearts went out to you for your stories as a child.
And
So
they
I just
want
wanna pass
to
that
hear
message
more
along. Yes.
more about it.
We're going to give it just a couple more minutes.
Mm-hmm.
To
Not
make
long.
sure we get everyone in. Yeah,
Not long.
not long.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even get me anything to drink.
This is
Oh,
right there.
just the regular black?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's tea.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Let's see. We got a couple people. We're just waiting on everybody to show up. Everybody was supposed to be here at 7:30, so we're going to give them just a couple more minutes, and then we can start, because we can already get started, and they can fill in or come in.
Okay. Well, so I can go ahead and explain to the ones that were not here last week. The way we ask just a series of questions.
Do you want to just add them, I guess?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get them in here.
Okay, let's add everybody. Get everybody on here real fast. See all the shining faces.
We have War Chief in the room, and there's Fern and Gina.
No, that's Gina and
where's
April.
Fern? Where's Fern?
I think they kidnapped
Gina and April.
She's coming.
How are y'all doing tonight?
Okay, good.
All right.
Good.
War Chief, you're doing good?
Most certainly.
All right. And Warrior Princess. Is that one princess?
No, we're both here.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
Say hi,
Okay.
Daddy. Hi.
And
Nobody on there for me.
we got a couple more people. And at 9:00, we're gonna give one of the guests tonight the floor at 9:00. They're gonna come in. They're getting off work and they're gonna read off a letter from an encounter that happened not too long ago. We was actually asked to. Oh, actually, we offered to go help track and for this person, but they had found him in the morning, and they asked us to hold off until morning. It's about 5 hours away or 6 hours, but we was going to go and track for them. But they'll be on at 9:00, and they're going to bring us some important information we all need to hear.
Then we have more of the story of what happened, which we did know, but no.
What was we going to explain? We got it right here.
Well, we can just go ahead with Warrior Princesses. Well, should we go? Let's go around and introduce everyone again. We will start with Jerry as an example, so he can set the example of the introductions.
I don't even know where my waffle man is. I thought it
In,
was right here.
in,
One second.
check that.
Okay.
And then, so we'll go around and introduce, and then the next round will be the questions, and just follow the lead.
It's still not time, but I guess a couple minutes more. I'm bringing the wampum again, the wampum string to speak. And Holly told Chukma, Jata no Pavamoma Asuba Spalichi, Sia. Choctaw from the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma, but I'm also Mississippi Choctaw, and that's who I'll be representing.
Thank you. Next in the room, War Chief, Tracker C.
Good evening.
Good.
I'm not on any rolls, but I am heritage. I am Choctaw and Cherokee parts of that, and German heritage, Irish, and of the Choctaw, I've got my most prized possession. That's my Trail of Painted Ponies statue that I keep close to my heart. And
Thank you,
very,
War Chief.
very close experience in Oklahoma. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. We'll go next to Fern, Gina, and April.
Straight me. What do you want me to do?
I'll sit behind you guys.
No, over here.
Hi.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
You made it.
Here, I'll grab your stuff.
Okay.
Oh, hello.
My name is April, and that's my mom. That's Fern. And hi, nice to meet you guys.
Hey, everybody.
Wait.
Everybody.
Yeah, they're just doing introductions.
Yeah.
War Chief just said
Hi.
and we're introducing ourselves now.
I'm Gina, and I'm from a really small tribe called the Uchuckwissa tribe on the west coast of Vancouver Island. Okay.
Cool. Oh my God, that's it.
Why do they make these complicated?
You got to introduce yourself.
Oh, well, everyone knows me. Fern. Hi. Perfect. Got it. Okay, I got a seat. Okay. Here, get in here. Tina.
Did you have anything else you wanted to say, Fern?
No, well, I don't know. Hey, you want to know some
Okay.
story I just thought about?
I just want to make sure you were introducing yourself.
She's saying we're just introducing ourselves.
Okay.
To them.
Oh, can I say how Bigfoot got us together?
No, right now it's just the introduction part, so we'll move to warrior princesses now.
Okay.
My name is Holly. My Indian name is Gaba Gijbokwe, means sounding cloud. I'm from the Red Cliff Reservation up northern Wisconsin. I'm here with my daughter, Jaslyn. We're from Misquabicong, Indunjaba, Mukwag, Danda. That means I'm from the Red Cliff, where the cliffs are red. And I am Bear Clan.
Thank you.
I want you to get in. Yeah.
Did Jaslyn have anything she wanted to say, or
Do you want to say anything, honey?
Hi, my name is Jaslyn. Yeah, that's really it.
She's kind of shy.
Latent word. For
we're
sure.
very glad that you're here. Okay, now we will.
Get in here.
Will,
Yeah.
will you be participating in questions too?
Are you talking to us?
I'm asking April if she will also be participating in the questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we'll go ahead and ask you. The other ladies answered last week, but you didn't get to. What did your parents or your elders tell you about Bigfoot?
Mm. It was always like the introduction was we were curious at what we were feeling down at home, so we asked like what is that we're feeling and seeing, and they kind of said just like it was something normal, like be careful, it's a bear, be careful, it's Bigfoot, and that's what we called it, was Bigfoot. I know that there's a lot of names for it, but we were told by our elders and my mom that Bigfoot was just part of nature, like bears, cougars, and wolves, and it was brought up that he was called the wild man of the woods, I think, and I think we were told that he has to he has to listen to us, and we're not allowed to talk to it, like as in have a conversation. And then what else did the elders say?
Spirit.
Yeah, that he's like, we're asking how come he would come and go so fast, like, and we used to be able to hear and like and see when they got up close other animals, but the fact that he would disappear like really fast, we were told that he is like a spiritual person, and so we always thought of him like the legends or the stories, like we have something called Pukmas, and so we associated Bigfoot like that, like a Pukmas, and there was something else. What was it? When we grew up, when we first got introduced to Bigfoot, the fear. Yeah, that was it. I asked Mom how come like he sends like heat waves or something. It's the only way I can describe it, but like he would like project fear on us, and we would feel it like it was almost like a wave of wind or heat or something, and we're like, holy crap, what's that, and how come it can affect us? And I kind of like just figured it out for myself that it's like his defense or something, that it's his way of letting us know that he's there and he doesn't want us around. But we were told that that doesn't matter. What matters is us, because we're here on this land, and we're here, and we have priority over him. So we were supposed to just say, we're here and you're scaring us, go away. And if they try to like have a conversation with us, because apparently they can like do mind speak, like they can speak from mind to our mind, and they're not allowed to do that. So when it first started, we were saying no, you can't do that. And then we believe in Jesus, so my mom always told us to say, go away in the name of Lord Jesus, and then he would just instantly disappear or instantly go away. So that was our teachings from very young, when we moved home.
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Warrior Princesses, the same question to you. What did your elders teach you?
So we really didn't discuss Bigfoot when I was growing up. We were just told to stay out of the woods when it was dark. We weren't to go outside, not to whistle at night. But as I got older, I was always like interested in like Bigfoot and aliens. It's just curious. I was a very curious kid. And I asked my dad, and he told me that it was a water spirit. And so that's all I ever had to go off of, because I knew it was real, is when I was a teenager. Now, I never had any sightings, but the things that I felt in the woods didn't seem natural, like when you get instant fear. So that's all I really got told, and everything else I had to learn on my own. And I didn't have, my grandparents died when I was younger, so.
And Holly, I'm sorry, Jaslyn, what did your parents tell you about Bigfoot
Grandparents.
and elders, grandparents?
Never whistle at night, never go outside at night without someone with you. I've never had any sightings at all with any Bigfoot or really supernatural, but mostly Bigfoot. I haven't had anything, no sightings or anything. But yeah, my mother told me some stories about how she got blind and other things like that.
Yeah, we'll get to that part also.
Yeah, we'll fill in those later. There'll be more questions to cover that. Okay, thank you guys, ladies.
My parents died when she was younger, so the only information she really knows is coming from me, basically, because I'm the crazy one lady. So so we really don't. Nobody really believes in Bigfoot. Like in my family, they just have like extended family. So.
And you already answered last week. Do you have anything else you want to say about that question?
I'll give a quick example of that question also from myself. Is that my grandmothers basically told us the same thing, pretty much. Stay, get in before dark. But they also said, because we had lightning bugs, not to smash a lightning bug on your nose and run around the house, or something that will be coming out of the wood or out of the darkness with you. Also, not to play as children in the dark, because there'll be something playing with us also. We'll have an extra something out there with us. But it was always caution as far as what my grandmother has said about these creatures.
Okay, the next round of questions we'll start with
April.
Can I can I join in on my own computer? Like come in with you guys?
She's like
Yes,
poking in from the side.
you can. Can you copy
Okay.
the link from there and send it to yourself, or
Do I just search you up on YouTube?
you just need that same link that they got in with?
Oh, okay.
You don't have it.
No, I don't have it. How do I get?
We can send it to Fern, and Fern can send it to you if you got a messenger.
But it's hard to do when I'm on my. Can I do it when I'm on my tablet?
No.
I might lose everything. Like,
Mm-mm.
Can you
can they just send it to you?
email or something, or
Pardon me?
Can they send it to you?
we just need to know where to send it?
Oh, okay. You guys have a Facebook group?
We do have a Facebook group. Fern, can you get just a regular text?
Oh, like a cell phone text?
Yes, yes.
I can.
Might be the quickest.
Okay, sure. You want my cell number?
Oh, no. I thought she already. That's okay. I'll just sit here.
No, this week, this. If
Yeah,
April,
but they're asking her a question right now.
can we? If they send it to me, and then I have to.
Well, how did you get it in the first place?
I just sent it to you on your messenger.
Messenger.
What messenger?
He just sent it in Messenger.
Yes, you sent Ella. You sent it to me in Messenger.
Just now.
So this one would have come from Jerry in Messenger. Also.
Okay, well, one from both of you now. Oh, let me try. Okay, let me see. I'm not good at this. I got April here.
It's okay. It's okay. We're a little ahead of schedule today.
Okay. What do I do here?
Messenger.
Right there.
Oh, Facebook Messenger.
Oh,
Yeah,
there he is.
Okay, let me see. I'll do it.
Okay. Yeah. And send it to you yourself.
And let's look for. Oh, there it is.
Technology, what would we do without it?
No.
This private messenger.
No, we just look to see all of your friends here.
Yeah.
Well, I just gotta look for me.
You're not on there. This
Why
is
not?
my private messenger.
Okay.
Mail it to you?
Email?
Sure. Okay. You need to.
So there's.
Okay. No, here. No, nobody. Okay. I think I'm getting this.
You copy. There's this little copy sign. Yeah. And then you want to send it to.
No, see, that's messenger, and I want to mail it to you.
While you guys, so while you guys mute yourselves, get this figured out. I'm gonna go on with the next question, because you guys have already answered this question. So
April has.
well, we can come back to
okay.
April in just a minute,
Okay.
and we can while they work that out, we can let Holly and Jaslyn answer. What had you seen as a child? But
Yourself.
yeah, just yourself, you personally.
That's fairies, shadow people,
Anything in the
lights in the sky, UFOs.
Wendigo, anything that would be considered cryptid or paranormal, supernatural, anything in that area. We'll start with Holly first.
I'm kind of nervous, just to let you guys know. I only did this one at a time and I was super nervous. So
So
I don't know if I'm going to get emotional or not, so just fair warning. Okay. I don't even know where to start.
and nobody's going to be judging you here.
Okay. So I grew up on the res until about 4th grade, and then we got moved around a lot. So I bounced on and off the res from my parents to my auntie's house, back and forth. So I kind of grew up in a city too. So when I'd come back, I was kind of that girl, you know, like, oh, she didn't really grow up on the res, you know, I kind of bounced back and forth, right? Um, so when I would go back on the res to live with my auntie, she didn't have no kids. So it was just me. And I was alone a lot by myself. My uncle was a logger. And so we had logging trails and they owned a lot of land. And I would make my own trails too. And so just to get away and be by myself, I love to be in the woods. So I would always go four-wheeling by myself. And when I would go out there and I'd be taking machete and I would be making my own trails and stuff, there'd be times where I would stop and I'd be, this is when I could see, mind you, because I didn't go blind until I was 19. So I could see all the way up until then. But there would be times where I'd just get like instant fear, just for no reason. And then I would just shoot out there. I'd be going so fast, taking jumps so fast to get home, not even knowing why I was scared. And sometimes I'd be going so fast that the machete would fall out of its case because it was in the front of the four-wheeler. And it would fall out, and oh my God, I would have to turn around and go find it because I could not come back home without that machete, or my uncle would be upset. And so there was times, like a few times like that I had, not knowing what was making me so scared, but it kind of makes sense now, knowing what I've, learned and stuff. When I was a little girl, before we moved out to Washington State, my sister and brother, they made a fort, like probably about like a little more than a quarter mile behind the house in the woods. And it was dark back there. And me being the little nosy sister, I would try to go back there, but they would shake me away. You know, my older brother and sister didn't want me, to be around there building the fort. So when they were gone, I would go back there. One time when I went back there, that same scared feeling, and it didn't come at first. Like I'd be nosing around, just messing around, and all of a sudden, fear would hit me, and I'd be like, "Oh my God!" and I'd just tear off running. I would always have no shoes on, just feet, just tear off running back towards the house, and never knew why. Just that I had to get out of there now, and I did. So there was times like that. There was times where, so I left home at a young age. When I was 16, I left home, and when I was 17, I met my kids' dad, who I'm still with today. We're going on 22 years. And when I moved in with him, we started experiencing things together. A lot of these houses are haunted and have spirits in them. And there was one time we were just talking about it. We were down in the basement, and we'd go down there because it was cool, and it was a hot summer day, and we went down there to go take a nap, and there was a set of bunk beds, and there was like a twin size bed. So we both went in the twin size bed, and we were laying there under the covers. And at that time they had a dog named Shawnee, who was a poodle, and he would always find whoever was napping, and he would go lay down by their feet. So we were laying there, we weren't sleeping yet, and we thought that the dog jumped up on the bed, because you felt like an impression of a dog jumping up and laying down. Well, my boyfriend, he kicked his feet down there because I was like, what is that, Shawnee? He kicked his feet and nothing was there. And I got instantly scared and I grabbed him. And at the same time he kicked his feet, we heard a creak on the bunk bed, like something, whatever was there, went to the bunk bed. And I just laid there. I grabbed him. And don't ask me why, but we didn't get up. We just were scared and then we fell asleep. There was other instances in that house. I mean, there was a lot to go over. We had a lot of experiences in that house. I don't know if you want me to go through them. Do you?
Well, we're just
Do
trying
you?
to well, we'll get to more of those in just a minute, but we just need to know that you have seen things whenever you were young.
Mm-hmm.
Shadow people, fairies,
Do
and
you
things
want me?
like that.
Do you want me to talk about that when I was really little? My fairy.
Did that happen when you was young?
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened when I
Oh,
was about
yeah.
3 or
No,
4.
perfect, perfect.
That was the first thing. Okay. Oh my gosh. So when I was about 3 or 4, I killed a fairy, and I didn't. When it happened, I was just like playing from what I remember. I only have like snapshots, and for a while, I didn't even realize that it had really happened. Oh, I'm starting to cry. Um, I have a couple pictures in my head, and I had gotten bit. I remember I hurt on my arm, and I swatted, and when I looked down, there was a little person with wings, and to me it looked dead. Its leg was messed up, but um, I can't really be sure. But at that time, I thought so, that I had killed it. Um, I'm pretty sure I went and told my parents because they knew. Because I had asked as I got older if that really happened, because I wasn't even sure. Because I had these memories, snapshots in my head, but I didn't know. I didn't know if it was a dream or if that had really happened. And my parents said, yeah. And they were the only ones that knew, my mom and my dad. So years later, when I turned 19, I went blind. And nobody knew why. Nobody could tell me why. I went to the Mayo Hospital in Minneapolis, and that's a story in itself. But just for time's sake, I'm just gonna shorten it up. And I went there. I was there for about a month and a half, and they tested and prodded me and poked me and did all these tests, and they couldn't tell me why I lost my sight. And they said, well, 5% of the people get what you have in the population, and we don't know why. You have secondary glaucoma because it doesn't run in my family or anything. I'm not diabetic, so they couldn't really give me any answers. Um, After that, a few years later, my dad ended up getting me doctor. So the medicine man, we went back to, because we had like a summer home on the reservation. We went to that home, and the medicine man showed up, and he got out all his stuff, and we were all sitting around. It was super hot during the summer. I think it was during July, and it was me and my family, my siblings. My sister, she had passed by then, my older sister, so it was just me, my brother, and my little sister, and my nephew, and my sister's kids. Um, and we were all sitting around, and he was telling us all you know, as he was talking to the spirits, he said, she killed a fairy. This is what happened. And instantly my face was just pouring down with tears because I never told anybody but my parents. So I was like, how could he know? But he did. He knew. And at that time, you know, I believed in my culture and stuff, but I was still leery, you know, like he's supposed to doctor me and he says he's going to help me. And, you know, so I wanted to believe so bad, but I was like, how is someone going to help me get my sight back? It was almost impossible to me, you know, but he doctored me and did all the things. I'm not going to go into detail about all that, but he did what he was supposed to do and help me. But one thing he did say was, he said, as long as, because this was about 4 years after I went blind. And he said, as many years as you've been blind, it needs to come full circle. And that was about 4 years. So in 4 more years, so a total of 8 years, he said, you'll have eyes to see again. And it didn't make sense then. But the 8 years came up when Jaslyn was born. And my mom said, she's your eyes. That's what that meant. You'll be able to see again. You're having Jaslyn. She's your eyes. She'll help you. So
All right, I got cold chills.
Mhm.
All did.
I'm sorry I get emotional when I talk about that. But what did he say? I couldn't understand.
He got the chills.
Oh, did he? Yeah. So my siblings found out for the first time at the when I was getting doctored, and they were pretty astonished because I don't even know if they believed in anything. You know, you hear all these stories, you hear the legends, but if you don't see anything or experience anything, you're kind of, I don't know, you know. Well, after I had gotten doctored, there were some things that we needed to do. Now I know um in other natives, some of them are scared of the little people. We've always been told just to respect them, but they can be helpers. And yeah, they can be mischievous too. But I never really feared them. I know other natives do, but that's what we were taught. And the medicine man, he said, you know, those are your helpers. And I said, no, I didn't know that. And he said, they'll be coming. And I said, okay. And that was after he doctored me. And I didn't know what to believe, you know, but I just said, okay, you know. And me and my sister were sitting at the kitchen table, and everyone had left. And this was like the next night. We had some things we still needed to do for the ceremony, and we were completing it. And there was a song that we needed to sing, and we did that. And some medicines that we had to get together and stuff, and we did that. And we were just visiting, you know, just sisters sitting around gabbing and chit-chatting and visiting. Well, I walked to the back of the house, and she was in the front of the house in the kitchen. And in the middle of the house, all of a sudden I hear something moving around. And I told her, Rachel? And she was like, is that you, Holly? And I said, no, because she heard it too. It was something. some things moving around. You could hear them in the middle of the house. And I was like, come here. She said, no, you come here. But I was too scared. I didn't want to move. And she come tearing back, running back towards the room. And I said, oh my God, they're real. They're real and they're here. And she heard it. And it was them, the little people, they were there. And I said, we can't be scared. Don't be scared. They're here to help. So don't be scared. And so we just sat in the room and we just knew they were there. And then soon, you know, the noises just stopped. So she experienced that with me. So there's that. So,
Well, I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that a lot of people. I want to show this video again real fast with the fairies, because a lot of people have never seen them or understand that they're real, and you had a encounter with them, and I believe the same thing, that it was the fairies that had something to do with your eyesight. So.
Oh yeah, I failed to mention that. That's one thing he said, is that's why I lost my sight, is because they took it from me, because I killed that fairy.
Yeah,
and that's what made me feel so bad, you know, because I was little and I didn't know, and I went to did that, but it hurt me, you know, and my natural reaction as a little kid was to swipe it, you know what I mean? Like in my mind, just thought it was a bug, you know, until it was on the ground. So,
do you remember what it looked like to describe it?
all I seen was its hair on it. It was down on the ground, and that its leg was messed up. Its face wasn't facing me, and I didn't pick it up or try to mess with it. That's all I remember, is a snapshot of it laying on the ground with its hair. I couldn't see its face or anything. It looked like a little humanoid, and its leg was messed up and it wasn't moving.
What size would you compare it to?
Now, I said before, now I was trying to measure really quick with like from my top of my thumb to my knuckle, and now that I'm thinking about it, maybe about 2, maybe 2.5. But when I was on Truth's channel, I said 2.5, 3. But I'm like, dang, that's kind of big now I think about it. As a little kid, I thought things seem bigger than when you're adult. So maybe, I don't know. I really can't say, but around that size, if I had to guess.
So you're saying
big, but it was
3 inches?
about 2.5, maybe. About 2, yeah.
Okay.
But that's from my thumb to my knuckle. If that's an inch, I don't know if that's an inch. Maybe 2. Okay. You know, from your, you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
About from the top of your thumb to your knuckle. About 2 of them, maybe. I don't know if that's an inch or not. I don't know.
Thank you. Does Jazzy have anything that she wants to talk about in this section of the question?
Do you have anything you want to talk about?
No.
She said no. She's kind of shy.
Okay.
I'm going to show this video real fast again. It does have some fairies in it. If anybody wants to get a good look at what these things are, and we did shoot a documentary beforehand where we talked about these things, and what we did was we put some of that documentary where we're talking about it in with the video. So we're going to play that real fast. red eyes in the forest. Lights in the sky and the forest. A lightning bug of unusual size. A strange light in the darkness or night sky, hovering or moving from side to side. Images of a fireball in the sky. Multiple crackling sparks in the sky. So fairies are real, and I know that a lot of people didn't believe you back in those days, and it's hard to even explain Bigfoot back in the days when there's no videos, there's no photos. So we understand how hard it was for you to kind of go through that. Even just telling people, it's kind of, if you're not used to it or haven't grown up around certain things, it sounds kind of crazy. And
Yeah, it was, especially when I came out to tell, when I got the guts to come out and tell my extended family, like my dad's side of the family. They wanted to laugh at me. But then I started to cry and I said, I'm for real. like, stop it, you know? And then they kind of settle down, stop laughing. Because usually I'm like a jokey, funny person, you know? But I had to be like serious, like, no, 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 don't laugh at me, you know? Like
Right.
this, I'm being for real. And then I tried to go into Bigfoot, and wow, holy, nobody believed me on that, except for one person. And I think because she had an experience, and that was my cousin's girlfriend. She was only one that I took notice that I could hear that wasn't laughing.
Right.
And so I kept talking to her, and she told me I think I had one follow me home. I was walking. She lived on a different reservation. And she said, I think I had one follow me when I was walking on the dirt road. It was in the woods. She said I was smoking a cigarette and I was scared. And when I was walking, I could hear it walking in the woods. So I just try not to pay attention and just get home quickly. And it was in the dark. And I said, oh my God, were you scared? She said, yeah, I was terrified. And I said, that was what you think it was. It was a Bigfoot. You're not crazy. I believe you. You know, because everyone else in the family was laughing, you know.
Right.
So
Thank you, Holly. Is April still with us?
I'm working it out now. I just
She's here and she.
Oh, I just got the link and I'm gonna set it up. But
Okay. Because we're interested in what you have to say. If you have any childhood experiences with anything of the paranormal, fairies, Wendigo, anything that would fit with cryptid or supernatural in the realm of the weird.
Play musical chair.
Sorry. There she is.
you just added me on Facebook and it's gonna go click on the link. Well, we're full of really weird stories from where we grew up. Mostly with Bigfoot and Pukmas. Pukmas is I guess in modern terms you'd be like
He's a spirit of somebody who died and they didn't know they died because they died so suddenly. And they travel around in the form of other animals, kind of like a shapeshifter, I guess. And our people believe in shapeshifters, fairies. I've seen some. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
April can tell you.
Mm-hmm. We've had a lot of dealings, I don't know, with Bigfoot. There's one that has a regular path that goes behind our smokehouse, and the house, yeah. And the very first time that I came across Bigfoot, we're talking about Bigfoot right now.
Fairies.
Oh, fairies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or anything that happened.
Anything in that
Anything.
we can expand. Yeah, we're talking about your personal childhood experiences and anything. It can be Bigfoot stories and anything in between.
And we'll get to the adult encounters too, but we're just trying to see what you happened as a child. If you,
we moved down. We've always been going home every summer since I was an infant, right? And we used to go down for the summer, and my mom would do all of the canning of salmon with other family, and then we moved down there. And I think I was about 10 or 11 when we moved, and that was the same year that we came in contact with Bigfoot. I must have been turning. So I was 12. I just turned 12, and we had been down there for a year. And as kids do, right? We get bored, so we overcome our fears of what's in the woods, and we play. And we were playing hide and seek and tag in the woods, and there's a section in the woods that's pretty clear, like it's completely covered in trees, but we were playing tag in that, and we got used to like our bodies adapted to our environment, and we got used to the sounds and the feelings of the land, for like wolves and bears, because we're, just trying to survive and have fun, and you know and we came across this really weird feeling, and there was like these huge ferns that covered the land, and they create tunnels in the ferns, so we would crawl and hide, and play hide and seek in there.
Yeah.
And there must have been about 6 of us kids all playing tag in this little area, or hide and seek. And then we felt this weird feeling, and it was something we'd never felt before, and it was alarming. So I stood up right away, because one of the things we hadn't come across, on a regular basis was, cougars. We'd only come across cougars like occasionally. So I was thinking maybe that's it or something. And so I stood up, and the rest of the kids stood up, and they're all looking at me because I'm the oldest. And I told them, let's go to the house. And so we all went to the house, but we felt it. So that was our first encounter with Bigfoot. Was that we felt it. There was something strange in the woods that we had never felt before. And we went out and played that again that night, and during the next day or whatever, and then we felt it again, and I stood up, and this time the kids were asking, like, what's that, what is it? And I'm like, I'm not sure. And then we got this overwhelming feeling to run, and so like I gathered up the kids as we're running, and I'm like, this way, this way, this way. And then we ran into the house, and we just went and sat down, and started playing a game. And so it was our second encounter, and then we're out playing again, and like, I don't know, maybe the next day, because we were kids, you forget things right away. And I was in the woods on this huge tree. It's a cedar tree, and it was on the hill, and it was like really old tree, and it had started to slide, so the tree was actually growing sideways and going up, so it kind of created like a long seat that all of us kids sat on, and it was huge, and I was sitting on it. And then I got this overwhelming, almost overwhelming, like heat wave of a hit of this like emotion, and it was fear. And I just about got up and ran, and then I thought, no, 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 I'm gonna see what this is. And so I just stayed there, and it hit me again. And I was thinking, like, what are you? What is this? Is what I was thinking. And so like I experienced it, and then I ran home, and I told Mom, and she said, that's Bigfoot. And she goes, you could tell it to go away. It'll listen to you, and but don't ever talk to it. And I was like, but am I not talking to it, like when I say go away, kind of thing, right? And then she's like, no, it's like if the dog starts barking, you say stop, sit. And she goes, but it's not an animal, but it does have to listen to you. And I was like, oh, okay. So we were out playing as kids again, and then it happened, and I stood up and I said, no, go away, you're scaring me, in the name of the Lord Jesus, because Mom told me to say that always to spirits, to like to animals, and to it now. So I started to do that, and it went away instantly. And the kids were like, wow, what happened, where did it go? Because they all felt it. And so that's just how I learned how to deal with it. Like if it was around and it was trying to project its fear, I would just say no, and go away in the name of Lord Jesus, and don't come back on our land. And so like for a long time it didn't. But then another one came on our land, and that's the one that would go behind the smokehouse. And it was like really tall, like our smokehouse is about 8 feet tall, and it's like chest up to here would be above the smokehouse. And it would never really look at me. It would walk by, and it would be like looking at me like this, but it would never turn his head. and look at me like this. It was just like as it was going by, I would look, and then go. And it was scary enough for us as kids, but we're like looking at it like my brother and I, Jimmy, were the first ones to actually see it go by the smokehouse. And Jimmy got really scared and he got up and he was going to run. I'm like, no, look at it. And then he's like, almost in a panic. And he turned around, he goes, and he was like ready to dart in the house, but we watched it go up the trail into the river. And then we ran into the woods, and, he was like all panting, like, oh my God, we saw it. I'm like, yeah, we did. And that's when I realized, as the oldest, you kind of maintain control of the kids, not only physically but emotionally. So like I knew I had to make it fun or something, like curious, and so they wouldn't get scared and be in terror and have those feelings. So I was reminding them, like Mom said, we can make it go away, name Lord Jesus. And they're like, okay. And we're all like, at this time, the rest of the kids came in and they're like telling us, like, they're asking us, like, what's going on? And we're like, we saw Bigfoot. And after a while, it kind of like got into routine. Like we would see it every once in a while, like maybe two times a week or something, like when we were outside, and we could feel it in the woods, and then we knew it was there. Sometimes it would like breathe really heavy and we can hear it and we're like, it's there. And then we would like go back into the house. And yeah, so like being around Bigfoot at a very young age, we kind of got to learn how to deal with it. And we called them summer folk because we lived down there, and when the summer kids would come down, sometimes they would experience it, and we always felt like, well, we know, like, and we're enjoying their fear or whatever, and we're like, we know what to do, kind of thing. And if we're happy, or they were good friends, we would tell them, but if not, we would just enjoy it, like yeah.
Honest answer.
Yeah.
You guys and then you saw Spookmas.
Yeah, we're playing another time, like with introducing Spookmas, like we're all playing something called Kick the Can. We usually just played hide and seek. And to me, I was like, there was like no difference, like whatever. We're playing hide and seek, but we were playing Kick the Can, and I was the last one to find the last person, and his name was Bud, and he was white, and he was like the only white kid on the reserve. He lived across the bay, and he used to come play with us all the time and stay overnight. And I was everyone else was up on the porch, and they're leaning and they're like chanting like Bud, 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 because they wanted Bud to make a home, and home base was like the porch. So like I all of a sudden we all saw this movement, and we looked up and we saw this white face, and it was like a really round white face, and it was just up to its chin, so we can kind of see its lips and eyes, and it was really white and blonde, and Buddy had blonde hair. And instantly, like, I had to go touch him. Like, I would chase him around until I could touch him before he made it to home base. And I said, "I see you, Bud." And I started running. And then Bud crawled out from underneath the porch, and he goes, "Home base." And I was like maybe 2 steps away from seeing the log that was laying kind of like diagonal up the mountain. And that's where the Spookmas was. Like, he was popping up behind the log. And they're like, all of a sudden I hear the kids say, "April, run, run." And I turned around and ran. I think the hardest and fastest I could ever run downhill. And I was so scared, like, because it was now an unknown entity, right? Like, well, that wasn't the words I was using, but I knew there was something not right with this, and it was frightening. And the kids were saying, "Run, run." And all the kids were trying to get into the door at the same time. And then I come up behind them and I just pushed them with all my might. And we all fell in at the same time, and we're all scampering into the kitchen, and we're all like screaming at our parents, you know, and we're like, somebody's out there, and they're all like, calm down, and we're all stopped, and
Yeah.
then they went out to the porch, and they could see Pukmis up there, and
Yeah, I saw.
there was a man, his name was Wilford, and he was like, oh, well, I'm gonna go check this out. And then, you know, like he started walking up there to look at Pukmis, and Pukmis was following him as he was walking, and my mom was like, Wilford, come back here, because she knew it was a spirit or it was something, right? And he just kind of like looked at it, like peeking around the log, right? And he started coming back, and I don't know what they did, because they shooed me in the house after. But that was our first dealings with Pukmis. But we would see Pukmis around.
Spell that. I'm having trouble.
Oh, okay, Pukmis. I think P-O, just how it sounds.
P-O-O?
No,
Yeah.
Pukmis. P-O-K
P-O-K
M-I-S-S.
M-I-S-S. Pukmis.
Okay. I was just having trouble hearing what you were saying. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So that was one experience. Like, and we've had a lot of, I don't know, like I don't know too much about like the spiritual connection to animals, but when we were out like as kids, you know, of course I was the oldest one. I would take the kids out into the mountains to explore, and we had gone into the woods deep in different directions, and I would bring band-aids and lunches in my backpack for them, because I knew we were going to be gone for hours. And then we would have like animals, mostly birds, follow us, and I was thinking, oh, they must smell our food or something. And that's what I would tell the kids too. But we always had animals around us, and we knew that it wasn't normal because of the, I don't mean really to be, I'm not being racist here, but the white folk, it wouldn't happen to them, and it would just happen to us who were at home. And I think that's when I started to fall in love with the land, because I started noticing a difference. And us as natives had a connection to the land. Like my brothers and sisters and I have a connection to the land.
Okay.
And we, that's what I did my thesis on, was connection to the land. So I interviewed people all over the world, you know, like from Argentina is one, and over in Eastern Europe, and I had, you know, because of my computer programming, I was able to connect to people all over the world. So I did my paper on that, and it's natives that have a connection, natives of Scandinavia, or, you know, natives to Argentina, and us natives to the sun, that have this connection. And white people just don't. It's like they're like wandering or something, right? And they don't really have that. They don't claim that connection to the land. And I learned that when I was a child, like when I was taking the kids out and everything, because the animals really wouldn't follow them. And it was almost like it was a protection, like overseeing, because there are times that we would feel a bear, and then the birds would start flying the other way. And or, you know, and of course there's the crows. They hate bears, right? And they would always fly over and be a pest and peck at them or fly at them, and so that, like, we always knew, like, or I guess we were reading the animals. I don't know if that's part of, I don't know what that is. So we would just go the other way, or it's time to go home. And there are a couple of times that we're out there on the land, and we would see Bigfoot, And I realized, I think I was about 14 or 15, and I realized they're allowing us to see him, right? Like we would see Bigfoot spanning a distance across the next mountain, like when we were on the other side of our mountain going down the hill, and we would look across on the other mountain, and they would be like spanning the, across, climbing the mountain or going across some open distance. And I was trying to think, they're letting us see them. Like, well, and so like, I don't know. Um, it was getting too deep into thought when I was a kid. Like, why are they letting us see them? Where are they going when we're not seeing them? Like, they're still in that spot. Like, so is that camouflage? And then I started thinking, I gotta protect the kids. I gotta look after the kids. I can't get into this. So like, I would just herd the kids off back, and we were like, okay, like we should just start going back. And then because when I was a child, like I was really severely abused as a child. I understood about like astral projection or leaving your body, and blinding like yourself from what happened to you. Uh, is that called denial? I can't remember. And
Oh, it's a
so
survival technique.
So some of the other kids I noticed were like, as we're walking back, they're trying to recall that moment. Like, what did we see? What was that? Did I see something? Or all of those kind of questions. And they're looking at me for that. And I was just like, yeah, that was Bigfoot. And I was just trying to downplay it. But I have never heard of Bigfoot harming anybody. And I recently made the connection just because like mom is like getting involved in all of like this community and learning about how other people's experiences and how terrifying they are. And then I realized, like, I made a connection, like it was our ancestors, like my great granny, um, who protected and had them in line, because my mom's grandmother was an Indian doctor, and I had heard this over time, with my mom recalling stories about the spiritual aspects and the dark entities that are attached to that land, that she kept them at bay. Like she protected everyone from the reserve, but there was nobody that she could pass her teachings onto. So, when she died, all of these things started to come around, but there was a healthy respect, I'm guessing. And I guess I'm asking you guys too, like to think about this. Um, my great granny kept them in check and kept all of the other dark entities in check. And now she's gone. And even us kids were picking up and seeing these things, right? And um, so, yeah, uh, hearing all these horrible stories about Bigfoot and how he terrorized people, but there's a healthy respect, from them to us on our reserve. And in my heart, I'm like, this is directly related to my great grandmother being the protector of the spiritual side of things. And I think my mom passed some of that knowledge on to us, because they were really um, strong believers in God and Jesus. And I think she passed that. Oh, I think because there was a couple of them or a few of them that were teaching my mom, and in a way, my mom taught us that, like, we have authority over them through the blood of Jesus Christ, through Jesus Christ. And so yeah, that's the question I have, is like the terror that I've heard coming from your guys' channel, the fear. I understand that, because I think it's their like, because they're spiritual beings, I think it's their, I always thought of it as their self-defense, or their like get out of my way kind of thing. Because if it's a physical thing, they can overpower us instantly. Like, I've heard some stories, like from the people that live down there, how they've killed bears like in one swing. Like they've just killed a bear. And so it's not a physical thing that, you know, because they would dominate the world if that's the case. So something's keeping them in check. And in my mind, I'm thinking, that's Jesus. That's Jesus Christ, and we're believers, and we have the ability to claim. You know, my mom always claimed her property in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, and she would walk the property sometimes, just to show us kids, this is what you do. But you know, she doesn't have to walk it; she just claims it, and it obeys. Like, but yeah, I just I have that question, like, why why is there such terror in other people's lives from these beings? It's just really, it really floors me, but I do understand it because that's how I was introduced to it. It just projected this wave of fear onto me, and I was just like, what's that? And I'm like, no, no, don't run. What is it? And then it projected another wave, and then I was like, okay, I got this feeling. And I realized now that I was trying to put it in its place in my mind, like what it is and how I was supposed to react. Like, and I was thinking, I don't want to run in terror. So like, I just put it as like, it's something not good, and I should not hang around it. And so like, I just ran home after that one incident, and started to learn about it. Just not like I was being taught in a class or like a situation like this, just through my mom, and would ask my mom questions, and she would answer like as if I was asking how do wolves hunt, like how is it around Sasquatch. It was like a natural thing, and it wasn't something taught like to be feared, but to be very wary. Like, you know, you have to um, be in control, I guess, through the name of the Lord Jesus. And one thing that my mom has always done, and she's always drilled it into us as kids, like every night when she would check on us, she would make sure, like, are your curtains closed? And I was always like, yes, they're closed. And and then she goes, did you check them? So I'd have to get up and check, and they weren't. So like, I would close them. And she's like, people, you know, just because you can't see outside because it's dark doesn't mean that they can't. And then so we decided to test it out. One time we were coming home late, and my sister Iris was in her bedroom, and I got down on my hands and knees, and my brother jumped up because there was a crack in there, and then he was like, "You could see so much." So I went and I stood on his back and looked in my sister's window, and I couldn't believe just over a tiny little crack you could see so much. So from that point on, I kind of like, okay, yeah, definitely have to like close the curtains, because my mom used to say this us all the time. The saying that her grandmother taught her as a child, and that is like,
She used to tell me to close the curtains, she said, because if man or beast can look into the window, and she said that they're not as kind as the moon, so you make sure you close your curtains at night.
yeah. Well, what's that saying? Like,
If the moon can shine through the curtain,
Yeah.
then the man or beast can look in, so you make sure you close your
Yeah.
curtains at night.
yeah,
Yeah, that's my grandmother taught me that.
yeah. So we
We're
always did.
fanatical about that. We push that point so hard.
Yeah.
Let us start with you on the question of gifting. What do you know of gifting,
Just one
April,
second.
and
One second.
experiences with it?
And we're going to be asking Holly and the
And-
same question.
Yeah,
Okay.
because Fern and
Hey.
Jean have already answered,
Okay,
and
good.
War Chief.
Hey, Elle. Gina had a story of when she was a child with fairies.
Oh, okay. Let's go ahead to that first, then, before we get to the
Okay.
gift question. Thank you, Fern.
I'll be right back.
Hold on, give us 1 minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do something. I'm going to fill my cup up real quick and give us 1 minute.
Yeah, me too.
You want to show them this?
Me? I'm
Yeah.
gonna go in the bedroom
Oh,
and try and
okay.
connect. Yeah.
All right. I don't know how to do it.
I'll do it.
Yeah, okay.
Is this dinner?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna mute. You guys mute.
Mike's on.
mic is on. I'll go borrow a sheet of paper. I'm out. I'll borrow two. Okay. Hey, you can hear? You can hear?
You can hear, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Gina, are you got the story for the fairies?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to let you know that a couple of my grandchildren also saw them. But when I was like 11 or 12, when I was in the residential school, my grandmother died. And I was not allowed to grieve for her. And I ended up getting really sick. And I'd never, ever seen a doctor before, but they put me in the infirmary, and I was in really bad shape. I wasn't eating or drinking. I wasn't sleeping. And I wasn't allowed to cry, so it affected me physically. And they sent for a doctor. First time I'd ever seen a doctor in my life. And I thought about Dick and Jane in what they used to teach us in school in grade 1, and how they used to have a bath, wear clean clothes, wash their hair, brush their teeth. They had to polish their shoes and everything. Back then, everybody polished shoes, right? And so I was thinking that this is a person who's like a god, right? So you have to do what you have to do. And he came to see me, and he went and he got that rubber mallet thing out, and he tapped my knees and my elbows and everything. He checked my eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and he turned to the nurse and told the nurse that I was retarded. And so I knew that's the word they used back then. I know it's insulting now, but that's the word they used. And I had a relative who was like that. He was 2 years younger than me, and I know how he behaved and everything. And so I thought, okay, so I must be like him. So all I did was paint and draw after that. But when I went to bed that last night, I was in the infirmary. I heard a humming sound. It was really faint, and it sounded really beautiful, almost like music. And I opened my eyes and looked down to the foot of my bed, and standing at the foot of my bed, and it was only less than a foot tall, and it was just shining and beaming out lights, and it was a fairy. And I thought, oh, this is my grandmother, and she's come to let me know that I'm okay and she's okay. And what I've done over the years is I've painted the horrible incidences that happened to me at the residential school. And they're well known all over Canada right now. And some of them are in the museum, in the National Museum of History right now. And I still haven't finished doing them. I have a couple more to do. And I recently did one. That's why I'm really surprised they're talking about fairies right now, because I painted a picture of fairies, and I have it right here.
You just finished it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just finished it.
post
Oh.
we would love to see it.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Wow.
And to see it in real life, this painting, you really feel it.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Is this the one that you saw, or is this?
Yes, it's the one I saw, and I can't make it as bright as it was when I actually saw it. How it glowed. It had a lot. It was, you could barely make out the form of the little being, and it was beautiful. And it had a little smile on its face, and I just knew it was my grandmother. And then she was appearing to me as that creature, which was so not alarming, and it wasn't terrifying or anything. And that's why I knew it was her, because she was the strength of my life. My parents went to residential school, and they came out of residential school treating us children like they were treated at the residential school. I knew they loved us, but I knew they didn't know how to apply it to us because it was taken from them. Yeah, so this is my fairy.
Well, you did a wonderful job.
Wow.
Wonderful
Yeah.
job. Perfect that you had that tonight.
Wow.
I like
Well,
to paint. Yeah, well, I've seen many things in my life. the day I was born, like I don't remember it, but my mother told me this, is that she struggled and struggled and struggled, and the doctor announced that she was going to die, and so was I. And a doctor came out of the hallway and came in and reached inside my mom and turned me around, and I popped out. She said every inch of my body was bruised, and my mom survived, and well, she had many children after me too. And so, I think that those entities start to attack you if they know you're going to help other people to make it through their hardships. And I've done that, helped other people. And I've explained to them a lot of things that I saw throughout my life, and I saw many, many, many things. My phone going off.
And it's not me.
Yeah. There was a lot of witchcraft in my young life, and I didn't understand it. And my grandmothers are the ones that taught me and told me how to take care of that problem. And it's never affected me when I got older. Yeah, but it's always there, and you need your protection. I tell everybody, you need your protection. And a lot of the things I feel are coming from the same source. They can appear as anything. I was
Yeah.
taught that from my grandmother. They can appear as a Sasquatch. They can appear as Pukmis. They can appear as a fairy. They can appear as anything because they're spiritual beings. And there's no time, space, or distance in the spiritual world. That's what I was taught. So obviously they can appear to you on the third floor of a house, or they can appear at you in the basement, or they can stick their face through a door and stuff like that, right? And you just have to have the protection. They always told us about the protection.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're the ones that have been taught to forget everything.
Can you guys hear me? Am I coming through too loud or okay?
No, it's
Right.
perfect. Let's get to the question of gifting. We'll go ahead and start with Gina. Or no,
Oh,
Gina, we talked to you about it. I meant April. I'm sorry. We talked to Gina last time about it. April, what do you know of gifting, and have you had any experiences with it?
My natural father is from a different band, and I just in my last, I don't know, I guess throughout the years I've met my family over there about 5 times, but going on to their land I could feel it inside, and it was very sad feeling. I don't know if that's because I know that my father came from that land, but the whole land and the people are very sad. And I realized just recently that if this is what we're talking about, I have a gift, and I almost died about 4 years ago, and that's when I was told I'm gonna be okay. I made a conscious decision that I'm just going to accept everything that is coming in my life, and I'm going to accept and do the things that I want to, in regards to other people's expectations of me, if I want to accept that in my life or not.
For that is a point, and we are going to talk about that kind of gifting. I'm glad you brought it up, but for this, and I should have been more clear on my question.
Yeah.
In this case, I'm talking about
Handing gifts.
There's like giving them.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to. And my father came from a different land, and that's when my mom taught me that when you're going onto some other tribe's land, you have to bring a gift, and or send positive thoughts of like, thank you for allowing me on your land, and greetings, and gifts, and also gifts for people that like if you're coming in contact with with Bigfoot and you know that that's where they live and you have to go through it, to give them a gift of food, like, and say, I'm coming through and this is my gift to you, um, is what I would say. I know my mom words it a lot better, and she told me, it's kind of like an introduction, like an announcement or whatever to these people. Um, these spiritual beings or whatever, like you're traveling through the land, so you give them a gift of food or you give them something, right? um so yeah, that's what I was taught, was, on somebody else's land or their land. And mhm.
Well, what about directly, like to like if you knew a Bigfoot was in the area and you wanted to make some kind of connection? Have you ever took food or apples, gifts or
No,
marbles?
we were told and taught never to interact with them,
Good.
Okay.
because they've been on this world way longer than we have, and they're more intelligent, and they've seen the way people react, and they've seen us develop through the years and years, the centuries, is what I was taught, or later on in my life, that they're spiritual beings and spirits don't die, or they're here longer than us. And so I thought of the right away. I thought of, like, I know it was, I guess, just to make sense in my own mind, I thought of evolution. I know it doesn't apply to them, but how I took it is, they've watched us through the industrial age, and now through this technology era, um, and they're still the same. They're in there, so like they're watching us humans grow and go through, like, and us native people, like, just from the experiences my mom talks about with her grandmothers, that she protected our land and our people from these spiritual beings. And one word that I never let rest, or in my thoughts, or I never forgot, was the word protect. And when you protect yourself, you're protecting yourself from something. And that something is not good. So, like, I've always looked at them like they're not good, but they're here. I don't know why. And I sure as heck don't want to try and ask them, because that's like opening a door. And
Hmm.
one thing I've learned, growing up in my life, because of the severe physical and emotional abuse I went through, at the hands of a man who went to residential school, because he was abused there as well, right? Um, I learned about evil spirits, and I learned about leaving your body, and I learned about being able to travel, because my older sister used to do that to get away, and then she just learned how to do it on her own, even though she wasn't being abused at the moment. And she would come and take me away, and then we would see or feel evil spirits while we're out there astral projecting, and she would just guide us away from that. And she knew how to move, and I didn't, so she would just take me with her. And that's when I learned. That's when I associated, like, if they can just disappear, and they can manifest, they can move and crash through the woods, and then they can just disappear. I realized that the spirit uh, is forever, right? Because they've been here that long. And when mom tells me not to talk with them, I never did. I never tried to. And I know people call it mind speak, I think. And that's like an opening of a door, right, to the spirit world. And that's usually bad. That's usually like witchcraft, or demons. And once you open the door, like the Ouija board, that's an actual physical spiritual connection to the door, and you open it and you don't close it, it's left open, and they can just forever come through, right? So that's when I associated this with Bigfoot, and how he can just disappear when you use the word of God, like you command it. Like, go away in the name of Lord Jesus, and in a gentle way. My great grandmothers used to taught my mom, like, you don't talk to it, and you tell it that it's scaring you, and to leave you alone in the name of Lord Jesus. Like, so the general feeling I get from my mom's teachings from my great grandmothers was they were so gentle. They're so gentle and so knowledgeable, and they were passing that information off to my mom. And and I feel like I'm like a rhino in a china shop, like, stop in the name of Lord Jesus, and then like, and there's just no qualms about it. Like, I most of the time I'm like, just black and white, like, okay, that's bad, like. And I started to identify that in people just from, most survivors will see it, like they can pick out offenders and abusers, right, just from like within the first 3 to 5 seconds of seeing them. They know, like, their intuition, which I think is your spirit, tells
Sensitive.
you, yeah, tells you, like, hey, I need to, like, stay away from this person. And that's the spiritual side, right? That's your spirit. And not very many people know their own spirit. Like, they don't know that, but yeah, sorry, I'm starting to ramble. Okay, so that's it.
Holly, what do you and Jazzy, could we have your opinions and your knowledge on gifting?
So, when I was younger, I unknowingly gifted, because it was my duties to go and dump the slop bucket. So I unknowingly did that. And when I would do that, I was so scared. I would just hurry up, throw it, and run. And I hated to do that. I hated dumping it, but I had to because it was my chore, my job. And I changed our ways now, but there were times like, with spirit plates and stuff like that. We would leave them by the east side of a tree, not knowing that that could be looked at as gifting, but now knowing that, don't do that no more. So we just get rid of the food, the fire now. So, and that's what Jazzy's learned to do because that's what I learned. So I'm teaching her that, because we were always just taught just to leave the food out there, with the tobacco and stuff. So
So when you would just throw out the slop bucket and run, were you hearing or sensing something, or why were you running?
because I was scared. I didn't know
You
why. I was just,
okay?
yeah, I must have felt
Sense
it.
that's
I was,
wrong.
yeah, I was just scared. I was just, like, as I was becoming up, because there was one certain spot that she wanted it always dumped, and that was by the wood line way back. So it was probably 100 yards behind the house. And then there's a big wood line, and behind that wood line, you go, I'm not good with distances. A little way back into the woods, and it would go down into a ravine back there. And so I would have to dump it in the woods, and there was tall grass right there in front of the trees, that wasn't cut. And that's where I would just run there, and I would just get scared, and I would just hurry up and throw it and run back. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, the east side is well, in ceremonies it's called the light side. The west side is called the death side. But also, whenever we're putting ceremony food out after the ceremonies or the spirit food, we actually put it in the tree for the spiritual animals, or the air sign or the wing sign, for the animals, but not for the ground animals. We always just was told to put in the tree for the spiritual animals.
Oh, I never knew that. Yeah, we were just taught to put it by the tree, or we could burn it. you know, with ceremony
Yeah.
food, spirit dishes, stuff like that. So, but I feel now knowing what I know, I just feel more comfortable just burning it, you know, and like you guys said, just making sure everything's burnt, you know, not taking no chances as someone, you know, like a Bigfoot or something, interpreting it as gifting. But I have to get the kids to bed soon, and I wouldn't know how. I don't want to keep Jazzy up too late. I don't know how to turn this off.
Hey, Warrior Princess, can I say something to you?
Yeah.
When you talk about burning your scraps in your oven now or in the fireplace, it kind of reminded me of my mom's teachings, the things that she was taught. Like, every time I do it, like without fail, I always think of this. Like when I brush my hair, I throw my hair into the garbage. And my mom was taught, and I seen some of the elders, when you brush your hair, you gather it up and you burn it because you don't want people to get it. And it's a form of protection. And like what you're doing with burning your food is like you're protecting yourself like from something further, right? That's a thought that came to my mind when you said that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
You're welcome. Yeah, that we were taught to do that with our hair too, and also the fingernails and toenails and stuff. Gather those. Also, that's what my dad always told us. Don't let everyone get a hold of your things, because when we leave this world, one thing we have to do is travel and gather all the parts of us. That's what we were told.
Right.
So
So we need to let you go then, Holly.
I was actually wanting to see if you could probably hold on for 30 minutes, Holly.
are you guys able to get me off of here if Jazzy goes to bed? Are you guys able to like get me off of here?
Yeah, we could.
Right. She wants to stay up. She wants to stay up. She can stay up. You got to get
just
people, okay?
Yes, we're supposed to get a call here at 9 o'clock, and we're right at that time. And it's a very important message that you need to hear also.
Okay, we'll stay.
Okay, and we can kind of go to the.
I just need 5 minutes to go put the boy to bed, but Jazzy will be sitting here though.
Yeah, I'll be.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll go to an open floor because I don't see other guys, and we're waiting on B to get here.
She just sent a message. They said they might make her stay until 10. She's trying.
Oh, so she might have to stay late at work.
I just sent her another message.
But I wanted to let's see. Oh, April. I just want to say I'm glad you're not one of those people that will stop and turn around and say why. You know, when they said run, you ran.
Yeah. I'm too curious. I was an adrenaline junkie, so like, and that comes with curiosity, and I would always like be going places where I shouldn't have gone, and so that's my nature, and that's why I stayed. I was like, no, I'm gonna find out what this is, and it also stemmed back to I'm the one taking all of these kids out into the woods. I have to know what's out there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's where that came from.
And I was also going to say that it is true. You know, these creatures do recognize the name Jesus. They will leave. They will vacate from there. But we also got to remember that there's always more than one. So just because we do it to one doesn't mean their buddy isn't going to be there. That little one, the next one's coming in.
That's so true. Yeah.
And also on gifting. We understand about gifting through another territory and things like that. That's basic
like
protocol.
Gift,
yeah, it's kind of like but like if we gift like a predator, which y'all didn't do, but at that time, if like the people now who think gifting is okay, it's actually a mating ritual in the animal and the insect, and even in our world. You know, when you give something to a man, maybe even if it's a football ticket or a dinner to a restaurant, that's still a form of affection. I thought about you. Here's your, but in the insect world, even the spider there's a spider called a gifting spider, and they'll catch a fly and they'll take it to a mate and give it to her so it can mate. Also in the animal world, taking, storing nuts for the winter, those things are showing that I can take care of you. I can support you. So giving flowers or marbles or any kind of object to an insect or an animal it is a form of affection. It's a mating ritual. That's what that is in the animal and insect world. In the human world, we do the same thing. We'll give a girl a gift or a flower, take someone to dinner, even pay a bill, something like that. That's still a form of affection. And that's what's going on with the gifting. So,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Sorry, I said chocolates.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
and that seems like it's so interesting to hear that come from like a man, because to us it's like survival. Like my mom, every time somebody comes over, she offers them food and a drink,
Mhm.
and something she will give somebody if they're not like Fern, who comes over all the time, right? Even though she still does, because she just offered mom dinner. I mean, Fern dinner. Um, my mom has always taught us, you give them something to help survive on their trip or journey home. So my mom always gives food, like, or cans of salmon that she's canned, and she'll give it to them as a gift. But really it's her tradition, what she was taught from her grandmothers. Um, because you're helping on their survival back to their place, and they used to travel long distances with canoes, back in
Yeah.
the day. So the people, you would load them up with food to help them with their journey home. Yeah, like, so I never ever thought of that as any way as affection, but as survival from a woman's point of view, and from my mom's point of view too, I think. um and when we would gift, like when we were going across like Bigfoot's territory, it for me it was always a form of survival. Like, I don't want you kicking my ass, because I didn't give you. I mean, kicking my butt. Uh, and
Donkey.
yeah,
Really?
yeah. Sorry about that. Sorry, mom. Okay, yeah. But hearing your perspective, it's is that your perspective too, Mrs. Honey Bunny? Yeah, you.
Yeah.
Is that your perspective too? What he said?
Yep.
But we do understand. You're kind of talking about a different kind, because we do that when people come in. We offer them food. We offer them
Yeah.
water.
Just being a good host.
That's a different kind of gifting than what we're talking about. But even in that situation, you would give someone that like you're more fond of. It could be a cousin or a brother or someone that you're more fond of. You would actually give them some of the better food, the more in-date food, or more of that food.
Yeah.
But you're just, I know this guy. Let me give you some a snack on your way and help you. But there are different forms of that. But the one we're talking about is when
Predators.
people try to interact or communicate with a Bigfoot, and then the result of those giftings has always been bad, but no one here has done that, so we don't have the example here for this
I
time.
do have a story, and it involves Fern.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Go ahead, because we're still waiting for B to be able
Yeah.
to
Okay.
get here. She's trying to work it out with her boss.
Okay. Do you mind if I tell the story?
Go ahead.
Oh,
I'm going to be about 5 feet away, but I'm listening. I'll be right back.
Give me 1 second. Holly, she said she's going to be trying to shoot for 10 o'clock. So If that's too late, it's okay, and maybe we can get this recording to you. We'd hate to keep you up too late.
Fern brought us to this place, this land that she was gifting. Like she was gifting to Bigfoot, and we like she was offering them apples, like the bags of apples, right? And and when we went onto that land, um, I felt this really bad negative energy coming from it. It was almost like electricity coming up my legs, and the longer I was on there and the further I walked in, the more it went up into my legs, and I just knew it was bad. And um, I finally made it to where Fern was, and I was looking at this land, and there was like almost like a natural altar right there in the clearing, and she was hanging apples on like a bag of apples on the tree for Bigfoot. And I asked her, "Are have you taken anything off of this land?" And she's like, "No." I'm like, "Good, don't, and you should not come back." And at this point, my thighs were just like buzzing, like with like a static, and I was like, I have to go because this land's possessed. I don't know what's up with this land, but this land does not belong to humans, does not belong to us, and we need to leave. And when we left, Mom was saying there's no sound. And that would happen when Bigfoot came around. There was no sound. Like every creature just stopped doing what it was doing and let it be, you know. And um, as we were driving away and we stopped about 5 minutes down the road by car, um, we rolled down the window and all the nature sounds were there. The frogs, the crickets, the birds, the wind, everything was there, but it wasn't there on that land that was in the back. And I was like, Frida, you should not go back to that land. Don't go back there. And we drive by it every once in a while, and it looks completely different, but it feels the same. It's like, I don't know if I like that.
Yeah.
I used to give gifts because that's what I had been told by other researchers that I was to do. And I was, just in it. I thought there was some good, some bad, and all that. But one of the weirdest incidences I had before I learned not to gift, and I do not and don't recommend it. I've tried to correct anyone that ever might have followed me in doing that. But I found they will watch you and see what you're into and what you collect, what you're interested in. Maybe it's a colored rock, maybe it's a feather, certain kind of flowers, whatever. Well, I would always collect any of the bones that I found because I was studying the teeth marks and whatever was there. And in one of their structures, there was and I felt like we had such a connection. They did it just for me, that they put a skunk skull up on it was basically a shelf woven into one of their structures, like a little altar, a corner shelf. And there was a skunk skull on that. I was so excited. I'm thinking, oh, they gifted me. And so I took it and I went home and I made these two little ugly Bigfoot dolls out of fur. I made a mama and a baby, and I'm going to go give them my gift. It had googly eyes in the fur and everything. And I'm thinking it's just something they can still hide in the forest if they want to. It wouldn't be anything to draw attention to them because I'm still thinking they're just good, noble forest friends, whatever. And I put that on that shelf, and then I waited a few days and I went back and I had woven them in so that they couldn't just get knocked out. They would have to be removed out of the vines on the shelf with hands. They weren't just going to blow out or get knocked over by a squirrel. But anyway, when I came back, the small one, the baby was still up where the skunk skull had been, the baby doll Bigfoot, and the larger one had been removed and they disentangled it from the other one. and it was thrown on the ground, and the eyes had been picked off of it. I had like googly eyes on it for eyeballs. They don't like eyes. But
Wow.
they picked those off of it, and that same feeling of the decompression chamber, almost like you just can't, like just everything's silent all out there. I picked up them dolls, and the next day I was back there with the skunk skull, putting it back, and that was the last time I ever gifted with them. There's a lot of other different incidences, but that's one of the main ones I think of for me with the gifting that I regretted.
Wow.
Okay, and can I just add to April's story? I don't know if you know what happened after that. Was that the very next day, my neighbor, it was my neighbor that wanted to go to that spot. It was her idea. Let's gift. So I was just going along with her, and we met on a Bigfoot group on the island. And so somehow something followed her home that day, because the very next morning she phones me up and she's panicking. She's running the kids to school. She said, "Come check my car before the frost melts." She said, because there was handprints on her car. Let's see, big, huge handprints. I've got pictures. And so then, and then it got handprints all over her car, like something had been there peeking over the car at the house. And it got so that the twin boys, they're about 6 years old, they would see things in their upstairs bedroom. Mom, there's something peeking in the window. And then it would start communicating to her. I think it would visit her. She's not telling me everything, but her husband would be away. And so she said, she did tell me that he would come, this Bigfoot would come and visit her. And I don't know if they were having a relationship, but it got so he wanted to be possessive. He was wanting to, like, you're mine. And she says, "No, I'm married. My husband's coming home. I'm married." And so he was threatening. It got so, even the husband, who didn't believe anything, it got so they communicated to him in a dream that this is me and I am going to take her. And he said, "No, you're not." He says, "If I have to, do something to you, kill you, I will." So the very next day, they went to the church and they had the pastor come, and they cleaned out the house and everything else, and it hasn't been back.
Good. Glad they were able to find it.
Because she was gifting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came back. It was saying, "Well, you want me to come home with you? Your
Yeah. When they say friend good, they mean friend tastes
friend
good.
tastes good." And there is a difference between the command and conversing, like April was talking about. You're not conversing whenever you're commanding them to leave. That's a whole different thing.
That's taking authority, not trying to develop a friendship.
Well, she was conversing with them too. She was trying to, when we would go out, I would lag behind, and she'd say, "Come on," and she'd go and she'd talk to them as we were there, and she'd say, "Frida, introduce yourself, and don't be so standoffish." And then one day she brought her boys, and she introduced her boys to them. So she was always talking to them. I never talked to them.
A lot of reasons, like with your April, with your grandmother as being a protector. There's different ways to protect the land. One, of course, is walking the land and praying and letting these entities know that you have Jesus. Also, the food supply. A lot of times they won't invade a village as long as there's a good food supply. You may see them or they may be around, but if there's plenty of food, there's no reason to come into the village and take people.
Yeah.
Take
people?
I was going to say also that, or that there's a nesting area where they're breeding that's close to there, where they don't want anyone interfering or disturbing them, so they will keep their distance. They'll make sure that they don't cause disturbance because they don't want anyone coming. They're not going to take any kids. They're not going to take any people, because when that happens, people go looking for them. And if they're in a nested area, whoever took that, or whatever Bigfoot took that person, that one gets a reprimand also, because they will eat each other. But they don't want that one Bigfoot with that kid bringing all these people into where they're living and
Yeah,
breeding.
accountability. Yeah.
That's another reason. Or also, there's the gifting. If they were taking them food, there's no reason for them to come invade, because they're getting food. They're going to, they still got their natural food, but here they're getting a few things. So there's different reasons why they stay out of areas. But when that food supply goes down, they always come in. And that's why we watch the animals and everything. But those are just a few reasons why they haven't been aggressive, or that you can see them, but they're not bothering anybody. They're not coming in because they've got food, they've got water,
Yeah.
they
Yeah, that
got.
makes sense because where I grew up, at one point, like when I was 11, you could only fly in or boat in. It's full of nature, right? It's just all surrounded by mountains and water. Like there's this huge river where we grew up. And so that makes sense to me what you're saying about foraging for food. Like there are foods, they don't need our food. They
No,
have they have the whole wilderness and they eat what they want out there, right? So
and
I totally understand that part. Yeah.
we
But
teach people that they don't. None of the wildlife needs our food. God created a perfect system, and these people that are feeding the birds and feeding the deer and feeding the this and feeding the that are making them more vulnerable, because the predators know to go right where they're getting fed. So the nature lovers are doing more harm to nature, really, than what they realize when they're trying to do just the opposite. When you said you were 12 that first time when you had, and I'm talking to April,
yeah.
uh, it strikes me that that's just about the time that you would come into puberty.
Oh no.
So,
Because of the amount of abuse that I went through, I actually started my, womanhood like when I was 8.
oh, so you were already having.
Yeah.
Just want to make
Yeah.
sure that you know too that that time of the cycle for a woman is not a good time to be in the woods or anything like that. Had you heard that?
That's
Or do you know this? And
Yeah, that's one thing that my mom always taught us too was because of the animals, and now I guess because of them, but we have authority over them, so and we have authority over the animals as well. So that was never a question, like for me, like because of the way my mom brought us up. Uh, just pure common sense for hunters, I guess, right? Like women don't go out there when they're on their monthly.
you
And
think there's actual big researchers that look for women to go out to use them like bait. It's pretty awful.
yeah, what? That's horrible. That's
Yeah,
like sacrifice. That's not good.
exactly what it is.
Mm.
Even to the point of putting ads in papers, and then there's the people that actually answer those.
That's kind of like that ad that went in the paper in Europe. Somebody wants to eat the human flesh, and he was asking for a sacrifice, and somebody replied, but then nobody's heard of that guy again. And it's kind of like, well, there's your proof
Yeah,
right there.
yeah,
Ooh, wow.
This guy wants to be a cannibal, and somebody volunteered.
yeah.
That's not good. That is so not good. No, I remember sitting at home and I was like always so like upset because first thing at we were not allowed to go out at nighttime and play hide and seek. So we would wake up as the sun came up and we would wait for the sun to come up and then we'd go out and play tag and hide and seek in the woods before we'd have to go to school. So like between us and the school, we would play hide and seek for maybe an hour, 2 hours, depending on how much, how early the sun came up, and us going to school at 9. And then we would play at night. And so when my mom made me stay in and not go into the woods because she knew I was on my monthly, I was so upset. I was just like, it was the worst days of my life. Like, it couldn't be any worse than that. And I was always so miserable. But it was always taught to us like that. It was always an understanding. And, and I think it was like the visual teaching, like, my fathers and uncles and the men of the village would go hunting, and it would be a communal hunt, but the process of skinning the deer and preparing it had to always be done in one area. So like when my mom and dad and my uncle shot a sea lion, they came and hung it up at my mom's beach, but it was on the farthest left side of the beach, because we played in the middle to the right side of the beach, and so like they would gut it, and mom was saying, look what it's attracting, and I could see eyes in the woods, and it was bear. It was a bear, and then I could see in the water the dogfish were coming to get the guts that and everything else that was being thrown at them. And that's because of the blood, and the blood is what they want. They want the food. And so that's when I finally understood, like, okay, fine, I'm bleeding, I won't go out there, kind of thing. Yeah.
I was going to show this real quick video. There's sometimes when we hear those crashes in the night, or we'll hear a noise or a whistle. Do you know about their translucent looks by chance?
Looks like, what do you mean?
Have you seen the movie Predator?
Oh yeah, we used to see that.
So the
We
way
also used to see the portals too.
That glimmer.
The shimmer,
That's
the
what I'm talking
the
about.
reflection. Yeah.
We're gonna play this video for everybody real fast. So, and we've got a couple so everybody can see what they look like. Play this real fast.
At any given time, you have offensive and defensive feelings that protect you. Goose pimples on the arm, hair on the back of your neck stands up, flowing wind or a shiver. It all informs you of a cosmic translucent predator. The demon takes an outlining form by bending light. They look like heat waves on a hot highway. See-through or blurred, just an outline of a form. Boiling, shimmering, crystallized, or a watery haze look. Right behind the light is where the demon hides.
I wanted to show that because it's just, unless you train your eyes and how we train our eyes to see that is we'll look for the heat coming off the highway, and we'll get down real low, and we'll get our eyes used to seeing that shimmer, that shine, that glimmer, the watery haze look. And then it's very easy to recognize that movement in the trees when you're out in the field. But to people who don't know about that they can become translucent like that. We've had a lot of people almost lean upon them, almost walk right into them. One person actually ran into one of them when they were younger. But these things are out there. So if we hear noises or the little rocks that get thrown at us, sometimes they're not real far from us. We just have to learn to see.
I always wondered, like, about how they're spiritual being, and what you're talking about, like this camouflage, and the physical that we see. I've always wondered about that because um, my cousin, like he's younger than me. He's one of the kids that I would take out into the woods. When he grew up, he said there was a Bigfoot, and people describe these Bigfoots, and I get it. Like I seen it, and I'm assuming the same thing, that they weigh like hundreds of pounds, right? And there was a Bigfoot, and it was running across the top of his roof, and I'm thinking, what? This thing must weigh like 500 pounds and is running across your roof and it's not doing any damage to the cedar tiles. And so instantly I made a connection with, that's a spiritual being, because like spirits have no weight. Like they may be able to force things, around, but I thought, and so that's where I categorized it. Like that's a spiritual being. Like this Yeti, this white Bigfoot ran across the top of his roof and jumped off. And I'm thinking, on your roof? Wouldn't it do it damage? So that's where my logic said, okay, you're not gonna go crazy. We're just gonna say it was in the spirit form and it ran across. Because
I mean, different sizes as well.
Some of them are
from
like a
little
half
to
foot
large.
tall. Start with fairy. The size of a fly and smaller than a fly is still a predator.
We just think of
The
it all
little
as predators.
people, we've seen Bigfoots, that tall, just real small.
what?
We've seen
I've never seen it, and I've never heard of Bigfoots being small. They've all, I guess maybe because they're ancient around where I grew up, but they're all like when people say, "Oh, there was an 8 foot Bigfoot," I'm like, I've never seen that. I've always seen them like they're always like, uh, well over 10 feet tall. Like because our smokehouse is 8 feet tall, 9 feet tall, and we could hear it walking on the ground and we could see it above, like around its chest area above the smokehouse. So that thing was like freaking huge. And we can hear it, how heavy it was. And when I hear people talking about, it must have been about 8 feet tall, I'm like, that's pretty small. What? And now you guys are telling me that there's even smaller ones? That creeps me out because midgets and dwarfs
Yeah.
freak me out.
And
And I'm like,
Well, and think of a human too. You don't pop out full grown.
what? I'm getting all like, ugh.
Some of their full grown ones are still that tall though. But they also have little ones that look like little Pikachu things, little furry things. They're a lot like the gremlins in that movie.
Yeah.
Furry things, and they all ride upon. So whenever you see a Bigfoot, you're gonna see multiple eyes because it's gonna be some that are this big on him.
Spider monkeys, like they carry him.
Well, the only times that I've come across those, and I've put them in the category of demons, is my sister got, well, because the amount of like really severe torture and abuse that we suffered from this man, she got possessed because he was full of demons. We would see him blocks away coming, and we knew he was gonna, be like raping us or killing us, or well, we always thought we were gonna die. Um, and he would come as a form of a ball of teeth, rolling amongst this like fog, and we would see that coming from blocks away, and we knew he was coming for us. And so like when you're talking about little gremlins, we've seen little demons coming around and terrorizing us as kids, because my sister was possessed from this abuse, and we had a pastor come in and they cast it out. And I remember her grabbing the chair with her hands because the priest, the pastor commanded her to sit still so she couldn't move, and her arms instantly went down and grabbed the seat of the chair, and she was just still, but her head was up and her mouth was open, and all these different grunts and groans and talking was happening, but her mouth was still. And so like I associated that with demons, because the things that came out of her I seen. Like, and that when I told you I almost died, I've just I've just accepted that I have a gift from God where I can see spirits,
Mhm.
and it's like a piece of the puzzle that fit in because everything that I seen when I was a child, like the fairies, the demons, that are evil, the possessions of objects, I've seen all of that. And I've seen and because of the way my mom brought us up, and my mom didn't realize that she had taught us this, um, but we see people's I wouldn't say spirits. I guess maybe it is their spirits, and we don't like I did because I was a horny teenager, but I saw how cute guys were. But my mom never did. She saw who they were inside. She never looked at physical features. She looked at who they were, inside, and she taught us that, and you know. But I noticed how cute guys are.
Hey,
Well, I was.
April, you haven't read our book. Fern has it.
No, I
Almost
just met you guys like last week. Yeah.
almost everything you've talked about tonight, I'm writing like page 15, page 159, page 196.
Yes.
Almost everything
Wow.
tonight you're gonna appreciate in this book.
Heck
So
yeah.
you better.
Yeah. Yeah, we saw portals down in Kildare at home. I almost said the place. um, we saw portals and like we saw Bigfoot. We saw creatures. We called them, and it was so weird. Like when mom and I were adults, I was like when I was an adult. I mean, mom's always been an adult. um, when I was in my 20s, um, we saw on a movie or something, and they mentioned something about the shadow people, and mom and I just looked at each other like they said shadow people. Like we were totally aware. We're aware of shadow people, and they're really like I was more scared of the shadow people than I were of the Bigfoots, because they just seemed to like slithered or something, or they like a shadow going down a wall, that kind of. It was really creepy. Yeah, but yeah, we've seen that, and we've seen UFOs. It changed my
Really done.
yeah, it changed my sister-in-law's life and perspective on life when she saw a UFO. It was like um, where we grew up was about. It was a community, and it was about a quarter of a mile. And I'm only saying a quarter of a mile because I don't know distances. I can't really tell distance. Um, but my mom told me it's a quarter of a mile from our place to the dock. But it was about a quarter of a mile big above us, and it was coming over the mountain, and we saw lights going off of it, and like waves of light going from the center out towards the lights that were on it, and my sister-in-law just broke down, and she was trembling and she was crying, and I'm like, it's a UFO. And then like now I'm thinking like, why is it common, and why am I like, it's just a UFO. Calm down, like and as she wouldn't even go home. I had to walk her home, and the path to my mom's house is through graves, ancient graves, and I was. She just like begged me to walk her through it, but I hated walking. Like we would play in those graves. That's where the ferns were, where we play hide and seek, and we would play over those all the time. But at nighttime, um, and just after, she was freaking out. She wanted me to walk her home. And I'm like, oh, fine. Walk her home. And I'm like, halfway. Okay, I'm halfway. She goes, stay here. And I'm like, looking in the graves, like, you want me to stay here and watch you run home? Okay. But yeah, we've seen UFOs down there. Military have been down there too. Like, because of the very like the provincial lifestyle we lived, like we lived within a community, we lived with other people. Like when people were going to town, they would like say, um, I'm going to town, do you guys need anything? And we, mom would give them money to pick up whatever. And so it was like very community orientated, and watched out for, well, most of them watched out for each other. And like we lived off the land, like the men would go hunting and we distribute the meat, kind of thing. And So with that came the acceptance of all these weird things that would happen in our lives. Um, I guess basically because we had nobody to shun us for talking about these weird things. Because if you talk about it now in society, people will look at you like, "What the heck?" and they treat you like, or they like, "Oh yeah, she saw something," and you'd be shamed, right? And but the military used to come there. They would invade our houses. Like my older sister woke up with glowing green eyes staring at her in a wetsuit.
Mhm.
Like the military would come right in, and she just pulled the blankets over her head because she couldn't fight this guy off. And then when she finally woke up, there was watermarks, and that's because they would come in from the water. Like, and as kids, we were so strong because we used to cut wood. We used to help my dad pack in the fish, the nets, and um, we were just really strong. We used to have to roll the 45 barrel drums of oil up to the small generator, and we'd have power for like 4 hours so the community could do laundry on Wednesdays. And so, like, that was us. We were rolling the drums up. We were strong kids. And when the military came and we lost our fear of them, they would be, I think they were Navy SEALs or something. I don't know anything about military. Um, they would come out of the water, and they would be in a group of 6 or 8 plus their commander or whatever, or their squad leader, and he would be drilling them along the water, and they'd be running in the water, I guess, to build up strength. And I remember one time they uh, had to drop down and do push-ups and sit-ups in the water, and my youngest brother, went and did it, and he was out doing all of them because of how strong we were in the environment that we lived in. And they were getting mad. And then the guy was like, "Even this kid can outdo you," and we're like laughing away. They were so, but like, we've had lots of experiences down there, and UFOs was part of it. Portals, we used to toss things in the portals, because we were wondering like what they were and why was the animal walking in. Sometimes they wouldn't come out, but a dog walked in and came out. So we knew that we just knew it, like, we just knew and accepted that they were portals. They would come in all different sizes. Um, some of them would be really big, and they would be floating in the air, like, and we'd see a bird go in them, but they would be like a shimmer, like a heat wave. And that's how and sometimes when we would be running, like, we never walked anywhere as kids, we ran through the woods. Um, there was one time that a portal was there, and my brother didn't see it, and I pushed him because he was going to run right into it. And then we were looking at it, and it was about, I don't know, about 10 feet tall, but it was like going, I don't know how big it was because it was going into the ground. So we figured that the portal was going through the ground as well. And we were looking at it from side to side like this, like, holy crap, it's like a mirror or something. And we're like, it's there and it's there. And, and we were daring each other to put our hands through it and stuff like that, but we never did. Yeah, we've seen lots of stuff like that.
Um,
I think we need to have you in our next tracker course.
Tracker? You see Tracker?
Are we telling like stories from adulthood?
Oh, these stories are up until now. Like, I was 11 when we actually moved down to where we grew up, and these happened all the way through until adulthood, like until now. Stuff is still happening. The military hasn't come back. I think because my mom went to a meeting and told our chief, like, you need to do something. And that was after they came into my sister's home, and she just had her oldest daughter at that point. And I think that the inquiries that our tribe made to them, if it made them stop doing that. But we see submarines, like little submarines, and I didn't realize they're little, but those things are freaking huge, even the little ones. And apparently the big ones are gigantic. I've never seen. I've only seen them on on like the internet, like pictures, and I've never like I'm not good with distances and lengths. So like to me, the little submarine that I seen was maybe 2 car lengths long. I don't know. Even small cars, it was a bit bigger than those 2 cars, small cars. See, like I don't know anything about distance, but we've seen submarines down there, and we've seen Bigfoot, we've seen Pukmas, we've seen shadow people, we've seen spaceships, and we've seen orbs, and we've seen portals. Like we've seen a lot, and growing up down there. Um, our bodies would react to um, we're so connected with the environment with the we could sense when a bear was coming, like, oh, the bear's coming, and then we would go where we figured was a safe distance, and then we would watch it walk along the ridge and then go away, and we knew it was a bear from like a long ways away. We knew it was coming. We knew when cougars were around because our bodies would react differently, like the the backs of our necks, the hair would stand up, and we're like, ah, it's a cougar. Oh yeah. And um so like the feeling of Bigfoot wasn't that. And when we felt like wolves coming around, like our whole bodies, like mostly from like here down, would feel like the force or the nature of the wolf. So like we could identify what was coming. And like there was a man who participated in the violent attacks that we had as children, the sexual abuse and the physical abuse. And um, he moved down to where we were, and we were all playing hide and seek. And I guess he kind of got wind that we were playing hide and seek. So like he was stalking us. And we're all playing hide and seek. We're all really super still. And we're crawling on our bellies to like go and find the other person and tag them or, catch them. And then we all felt him coming in. And then we knew it was him because he's like a predator. And so I just like, um, the white kid, his name was Bud, he was like, April, what's that? And I'm like, and so I says, come here. And all the kids came up and we all looked to where he was sitting, and he just laughed, stood up, and walked down.
Bastard.
Yeah. So like we were really connected. And that's why when I went to school, I did that. I, I did my thesis on the connection to the land because I'm connected to the land, and not only to the land but to the animals around it. Like one time when my mom and dad went to town, sometimes they would stay overnight, and my older sister would look after all of us. And it was evening time, and the kids came out, and they're all like, come out, look!" And there was like an eagle, a hawk, a heron, and a raven, and they're on all four parts of our land, and they're like taking it on as a um like a spiritual thing, like native to our tribe and our culture. And I just denounced it all, and I'm like, we don't need that, we have Jesus. And I says, thank you for your protection, but we're protected by Jesus Christ of Nazareth, so you can all go away. And they all flew away, and the kids were like so mad. I'm like, we have something stronger, we have something better. At least that's what mom says. And then I went back. But we had a connection to the land, and we knew when things were coming and going. And so when Bigfoot started coming around, we're kind of like, we know when he's coming around or where he is, or what direction he's at or whatever. But it totally made sense when you were saying, you can tell one to go away named Lord Jesus, but the other one is there. Like, so we told that one, and he was older. We could feel the sense that he was an older Sasquatch, and that younger one that goes behind the smokehouse, that they were different. And
Yeah.
we were consciously not telling him to go away because the other one went away and we never got to see it again. But the younger one or the other one, um, we consciously did not tell it to go away. And whenever I seen it, And the only times I've ever seen it was as it's walking by me, and he wouldn't turn his head, but you could see his eyeballs like looking like this as he's walking by, and I was like, "That's weird." I always thought that was weird. But I've never ever heard of them being violent or uh, mean to other people. Never. And
They-
it's shocking to hear that. It really is. It's almost like an introduction to something foreign. It's really alarming.
One of my best friend's husband, when he was a young boy in Louisiana, they had gone there for a family reunion. And so the kids are walking up and down just like the little logging roads during the day, and they got that uneasy feeling, and they could hear something pacing them beside them, and they decided to go back in the house. And he took a bath, and it reached in. One of them reached in through 7 feet high up from the outside, reached in and tried to snatch him out of the tub when he was a little boy. And so he was out he escaped out into the living room where the whole family is all collected. He's bare naked, but he's horrified, traumatized, but that's how scared he was and how close it was that he ran out there like that. And fortunately the family took it real serious, but even to this day he doesn't like to talk about it. He still has some PTSD from that. It's been going on a long time with them snatching people.
It's getting about.
And I did hear from her.
Okay.
B is we really want y'all to hear her letter. She did say that it still looks like she's going to be able to get off at 10, and that right now where she works there was an employee that they're firing that has a gun, so it may take just a few minutes longer.
Oh my goodness.
We should pray for that person's safety. That sounds very awful.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to pray then. Dear Heavenly Father, come to your name, Lord Jesus, and I ask you to put protection around this person that might be in a dangerous situation. Put your guardian angels around it. We pray to your name, Lord Jesus. Amen. Okay.
Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
So we don't
We
know
have a
if.
couple.
I was just going to say, we don't know if she's going to be here at 10. So what we want to do is tell you this story, and then we can let people go for the night. But if she is here, and like Holly, if y'all, we're going to tell you the story, but if y'all have to go, because she may just tell a little bit more of the same story. But she just got this letter in about a week ago. This has to do with the young man that came up missing. The family had told the young man who came to visit that there are Bigfoots in the forest in their area around their homes, not to be going out to the forest area and looking for them, which he wrote in the letter that's what she said. But he went for a walk and he was curious, so he went for a walk, and then he got lost. Do you want to tell the rest of that?
Well, it's only like 5 minutes, and
Well, if we can wait for 5 more minutes, and because I just don't want to hold Holly up too much.
Jazzy just wanted us to tell our UFO encounters.
say it again.
After, can you hear me? Am I too far away?
No, go ahead.
Oh, Jaslyn just wanted me to tell some of the UFO sightings that we had in my family.
Okay, do it.
Hey, that would be great.
That's good. That'll give us a little more time for B to get in here.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me okay? Or do I need to move closer?
We can hear you.
Okay. So I guess the first one, well, when me and my old man were younger, I don't know, probably when I was around, like, I couldn't see, so it was after I was 19. We would go on the back porch of his parents' house, and we were out there with his brothers, and they were all looking up in the sky, and they would see lights just zooming around, and then we'd all get freaked out and go inside. Well, that would happen here or there. My dad, so this is when we lived in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. He had a business meeting down in Milwaukee. And when he traveled down there, he liked to take the back roads. And so he was traveling the back roads. When he came home, I did not recognize him. Like, his whole face was drained. He looked disheveled. And this is when I could see. And I knew instantly something was wrong. Well, he told me and my mom, because we were up, that he was traveling on the back road and he pulled over to use the bathroom. So he had a 72 Chevy Blazer and he hopped out. And this guy, he always had a spotlight in the back of his car, shining for deer, so he always had a big, powerful spotlight. So he said he was doing his thing in the back of the truck and he looked up at the stars. When he looked up, he said he noticed that there was stars blocked out by something. And he was like, what the heck? So he opened the hatch, the top of the hatch, and he grabbed his spotlight. He took it out and he blinked it on, off, on, off, on, off. And all of a sudden, boom, a big spotlight came down on him. He said every single hair on his body went up and he instantly got so scared. He jumped into the car or a truck and he took off and he came back home. He didn't even go to his business meeting. I don't remember now. But when he came home, he just looked all kinds of messed up. And I never seen my dad like that before. Like, he was just always stout and strong. And, I only ever seen my dad cry a handful of times the whole time he was alive, So that was what he's seen there. Now, both of my parents have passed away now. But when they're alive, I don't know which one happened first because they were in and out of the hospital a lot. When my dad had a heart attack, they ended up shipping him to Marshfield. And that was a ways for all of us to travel too, but when something happens, we all go, So I had to get a ride and my cousin came and picked me up and we headed down there. And by the time we came pulling into Marshfield, it was late. And on the way coming in, there really wasn't a lot of traffic. And I remember asking her that after she's seen what she said she's seen. She said, oh my God, what is that? And I was like, what? What do you see? And she was like, it's lights. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, it's red and green lights are like blinking. And I started getting like excited and freaked out and nervous, like started kind of half shaking. Like, I was like, oh my God, it's a UFO. Like I knew, and I was trying to tell her like, pull over. And she didn't want to. She did not want to. She was like, no. And I was like, when are you ever going to see something like this in your life? Like, pull over. And she did reluctantly. And I was like, what is it doing? What is it doing? She's like, it's coming down. It's coming down. And I was like, oh my God. And it kept coming down. And pretty soon it was at the treetops. And she's like, oh my God, it's going to land, and I was getting freaked out. She was getting freaked out, and it was coming down to the treetops right across from the highway, and it was gonna land. And she was like, F this, and she jerked back onto the road. Well, while we were sitting there before she pulled off, I was like, is there anyone else seeing this? Like, because I couldn't believe like she was seeing this, even though I couldn't see it because I was blind at the time. And there was no other cars on the highway, none. And it was like a busy highway. Like, what the heck? And then she pulled on the road and she was like, don't tell anybody. Like, she was all scared and nervous that like nobody would believe us. But of course, like, I didn't listen to her. I was being half brat. And when we got into the hospital, that was the first thing that came right out of my mouth was, oh my God, we just seen a UFO, you know? So it was exciting and scary all at the same time because just being with her and hearing how scared and she was seeing that, you know.
Right.
But there was that. And then at a different time, my mom ended up in Marshfield. She got really sick and we all had to haul butt down there again. And I was, by the time I showed up, it was late. And my mom and my sister and my brother and my brother's baby mama at the time, they were all going to get ready to leave. And was it my, no, that was the time. Hang on. No, when me and my cousin went down there, that was the time my mom was in the hospital. And when my dad had a heart attack, that's when my brother seen it. So I got that mixed up. But when I showed up, that's when my dad was in the hospital. And I didn't want to leave. I was like, no, I'm not leaving. But they were all ready to take off because they had already been there all day and they wanted to go rest up. And so they all took off. When they took off together, and my mom was in front and my brother and his baby mama were in the back car. And my mom was, you know, watching for deer and stuff like that with my little sister. And all of a sudden, my mom said that she looked in the rearview mirror and she could tell that they were like way back there, kind of pulled over. So she pulled over and was waiting for them to catch up. Then they come zooming up and they hop out all like super excited and scared. And they're like, "Did you see that? Did you see that?" And she was like, "See what?" Like, she was all confused. And what they said was, because of course we didn't hear this till the next day, was that when they were driving, they seen a UFO with green and red lights, like going on and off in a field off to the right side of the road. And so they pulled over, and his baby mama was so scared she didn't even want to, but my brother was really curious. So when they stopped, he rolled down the window and she got scared. She was like, "Don't roll down that window." And he didn't listen, of course. When he rolled down that window, all the lights instantly stopped and they turned white. And she said that she got the feeling like, oh my God, like it noticed them or took notice of them or was like watching them, like that feeling. And that's when they got back on the road and they started flying up on my mom's van. And that those two instances happened. One happened coming into Marshfield and the other happened coming out at two different times. So
Thank
pretty
you,
strange.
Holly. Tracker B has just entered the room. We'd like to welcome you, Tracker B.
And we'll be right back with you, Holly. Sorry.
Tracker B, can you hear? Is your mic on, Tracker B?
She's muted.
She is.
You have to unmute your mic.
Unmute your mic, Tracker B. And thank you for those stories, Holly, because we know that there was more information out there. And we always remember a little bit more with the more time that we have. We're trying to get Tracker B. She just must have a connection problem. She'll probably try again. But she has important information from the letter that she was just sent. and we need to get this read to everyone here so that.
We've been waiting almost for sure a year.
Yeah, we've
Year
been
and a
waiting
half.
for about a year for this report,
Year and a half, yeah.
and it's finally been brought to the table, I guess. Let's see if we're just waiting for her. She was just here.
You're still trying to get back.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
When you're Warrior Princess, when you're when that whole incident happens, did any of them cry out to Jesus?
Mhm.
Oh, sorry. Okay, did you hear me? I'm sorry, my mic was up.
Yeah. Yes, it also
No.
works with UFOs.
No,
Yeah.
she's asking Holly if that's what she did.
Oh.
So the question's for Holly?
Yeah.
Are we unmuted? Yeah. Okay. Like my brother and I, no.
Okay.
No. We grew up not reading the Bible. So
Yeah, a lot of communities.
my dad was a medicine man, so that's we were in Medewan. My dad was in Medewan, so that's how I grew up.
Yeah, my parents, one on my dad's side was medicine people, my mom's side was Christian. So, but let's get with Tracker B, and before we lose the connection or anything,
Unmute your mic, Tracker B.
there we
Hi.
go.
Oh, hello. Will you please introduce yourself and then let's start with the.
Okay. Well, she the nenschlim. She Bernice du Bozin Shiekia Anin Shlon Twitchini Bashichin Twin Lakes, New Mexico, Da E Nasha. Hi, my name is Bernice DuBose, and I'm Navajo, and I'm originally from Twin Lakes, New Mexico, but I reside in the state of Louisiana. I don't know if you can hear me.
We
Yeah.
can hear you.
Yeah.
The floor is yours to read the letter, and then we can ask you questions.
Okay. All right. So I got this letter, and it starts up as Cam said to write my story. Well, that day I wanted to go for a walk and think about things in my life that I made mistakes on. Bernice told me about how the woods were dangerous and asked me if I believed in Bigfoot. I told her I do believe in it. I got lost. It got dark. I ended up in the woods. I tried to make a shortcut. I saw lights across the field, but I got lost. I walked for 2.5 hours, it seemed, not knowing where I was. I wasn't scared until I heard noises, heavy breathing, a growl. I kept walking. I heard footsteps following me as I walked across the field of grass. I heard a tree fall. I got scared. I walked fast. I stopped, tried looking, and I tried to make a call. There was no service. I heard a yell. I ran. I dropped my phone and I ran. I stopped. I was very scared. I was praying to Jesus. I saw my family. A flashback. I said, Mom, I'm sorry. Lord, help me, please. I ran to a big tree. I sat there. I cried and was praying. I heard loud breathing, whistling, talking, not human like, chuckling like noises. Something grabbed me. I was hitting it. I passed out. I woke up being dragged, saw black apes hitting me. I was scared. What is that? I was hit in the head. I woke up with no clothes. They were poking me with sticks, my private parts, my back, my head, smelling me, touching me, like they were wanting to see what I had on my body. I will not, I will not say, I don't want to read this part in the, I don't,
Right.
You think I should? But area.
I can send Jazzy to bed.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. She's tired anyway.
I smell.
I'll be listening.
Okay. They left. I ran. I went in a pond, stayed there. Seeing nothing coming up. I seen the sun coming up. I got out. Stayed by a tree crying, praying. Heard a vehicle. I ran. It was a police car. I was yelling. It stopped. I cried. I ran to the police. He held me. He took me home. Cam told me told me to go to the hospital. I said no, I want to go home. She took care of me. I keep seeing apes. Don't go in the woods. And that's it.
Thank you for that, Bernice.
You're welcome. That's sad.
It's absolutely horrifying, and it's the reason that we do what we do. And
Yes.
we remain in our prayers.
Yeah,
For those
Jazzy's
that
in bed.
go ahead, Holly.
Oh, Jazzy's in bed.
I didn't hear that.
I think she was just
I
talking.
was going to say,
Oh.
yeah,
Real bad feet.
so she didn't hear any of that.
Tracker B, let us move away from that horrifying letter for a minute and go to a few questions that you didn't get to answer last time.
Okay.
And y'all keep that young man in your prayers. God knows who he is. It's not the sort of thing that much less to help you deal with why just the act of him writing that letter was so important for him to be able to get that out to anyone who will listen to him and believe him that this happened. I'm sorry, I'm thrown off. Okay, Tracker B questions. What did your elders tell you about the Bigfoots when you were a kid?
Well, my grandma on my grandma's side, on my mom's side, she had told me that she told me not to be afraid of the dark, not to be afraid of going out at night. There's nothing out there that could harm you. And we're natives and you shouldn't be afraid of the dark. But as a child, you're afraid of the dark. So basically,
Did we lose you, Tracker B? Looks like she's. We'll give her just a second to get back in.
But if not, we'll skip it back and come back next Sunday.
Okay. Let me text her real quick.
Am I unmuted?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if Jazzy muted me or not.
Oh.
She was getting tired
Yep.
anyway, so I just shaked her.
Oh, we was gonna wait for Tracker B to see if she can come back, and if not, we want to see if everyone can come back next Sunday also, so we can finish this up and get into a little bit more details because we got everyone's before answer, but we still need to have another talk on the open floor and the discussion. There's Tracker B. Let's see if. There we go. Tracker B.
Can you hear us, Tracker B? She must be having trouble with her signaling. I'm asking her if she wants to come back next week. Okay, Tracker B, we'll just do that then, and we will.
Yeah, she says sure.
She's having
Problems right now.
Yeah. So I think that's a.
Well, we're glad everybody got to hear that story that was just sent in. That's only about a few days old, but the young boy was he come up missing. He had to spend the night out there in the woods.
He was about 18, 19 years old, fresh out of high school.
Surrounded by these Bigfoots and things happened out there. A lot of things he doesn't want to fully talk about.
That would have been a complete release for him because at one point he didn't even want to talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Here, hold on. Yeah. Put that in. You ready?
So we'll go ahead and I think this is for tonight. It's pretty heavy. Let's just leave it with that tonight, and we will part of the meeting to next week, Sunday, 7 Central. We know it's fought hard to be able to get here tonight, even to be able to share that.
We appreciate that.
Thank you for doing that. Thank you for taking care of him and getting that word out. And we know you work really hard. We appreciate you. Every one of you here tonight, thank you again. Can't wait to talk to you again next week. And I just really want to say a prayer and be done for you.
No, April. So,
April, would you close us in prayer tonight? Would you mind doing that? You made me put the pressure on her. It's okay if you don't want to.
She lit up.
But you're welcome to if you like.
She said, I got this.
Sorry, okay. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you in your name, Lord Jesus. And we ask you, dear Heavenly Father, to forgive our sins. And we come to you covered in Jesus' blood. And we ask you, dear Heavenly Father, to put guardian angels around everyone that's been in this conversation and in our chat. And we put them in your protection in the name of Lord Jesus. Pray for the first responders. Put guardian angels around them. And thank you for allowing us to make connections across the world. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that.
Amen.
Amen. Bless you all.
We're going to, I forgot to do this real fast, but we're going to play this one last video. It's from another tracker. And some of the stuff he talks about is also in the book. But we're going to play this just real fast, and then we'll close it out. I mean, it'll just finish out. But we want to let you hear this last. Well, he's another tracker, and he had to track for some missing people, and he wanted to send this report in also, and so we want to share this with you, and then we will close for the night.
And if y'all would, this is a value to you, and I find this extremely valuable channel because we couldn't find any other like it when we were looking. Like and share and subscribe to it so that more people hear about us. Right now we got 13 people in the room. This is kind of important topics we're talking about. So if y'all would help us get the word out there. People send us other people's videos all the time and say, hey, they said something you guys are interested in. And we're like, please send them our videos. we're too busy making them to be watching somebody else's videos. Send them ours. Get the word out.
And Jerry and Ella, just I'm still trying to find out more information about Kobe Richards.
Oh, good.
We
good.
appreciate you.
One down here in Spring, Texas. He was. They had him for about 8 days.
Yeah.
Day.
Yeah.
And this
he's still, as far as I know, he's still in a mental health institution. That's been since the police found him June the 5th, and I still haven't heard anything. He's been in. I think he's still at a mental institution. So, tell him what happened to him.
Yeah.
But I'll try to find out more and get back in touch with you.
For people that don't know, he walked out in the middle of the night, very unlike himself, walked out at the edge of his property and disappeared, right?
Yes, and Spring, Texas is about 28 miles north of Houston, downtown Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
And it's at the very southern tip of the Sam Houston National Forest.
Okay.
So, you want to set up that video?
I was just going to say that keep us updated on that, and we'll see you also in the tracker meeting. But this young man, we a lot of people don't know this, but we help in different areas with other trackers. We give them information that they may need to be safe out there, and certain techniques that work. So we're in communication with different, like special forces, Army Rangers, other trackers. We help in different areas. This is one of the trackers in the north who sent us. He gave us word that he was going on the track because of a missing person, and so we told him some things. Which some of the things that he's talking about is in this book. It's also in our DVD that we have. It's also in our DVD, but he's going to explain what he found out there.
So this is actually a compilation of three messages that he sent. You put them all together.
No.
Is this just one?
This one.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. There was actually.
It was too long. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, we're gonna play this for you real fast.
Trackers, I'm in this rough bush here. I found the girl. Oh man, I have not come across a storm like this out here in a while. Oh, I'm using my crypto gear to get a signal out right now. Okay. She's unconscious, naked. like that story you told me, Jacker, I'd never seen that before, okay? I don't know what that's all about. I know there's some weird shit going on out here that I can't explain, okay? There's a couple of some things that are watching me, and they're not Bigfoot. They're not Squatch. And I found a cave. I'm pretty sure that it links to. God, it's rough out here. Oh, I just had to take a stop here to catch my breath and my bearings. Man, you're right. I had no idea about these. I don't know. I gotta get this DVD from you guys because I don't understand some of the things that I've seen here today. I have quite the trek back. She's nowhere near where they went, where she went missing. Anyways, in this pandemic, I do not know where. Like, it was calm. I found the cave, okay, and I was very curious because I was about to actually send out my drone, and they're one of them, and it's one that I can map big caves with, but not little ones. It doesn't have that kind of technology. But it was crazy because I was just about to pull out the cave. I'm like, I better map this first a bit, at least get a look in the first 500 feet, or yards, I should say, and make sure that it's all good. And then boom, this hit, and it was like kind of drizzly, but nothing like this. So I don't know. I gotta learn more about if there's different kinds of these things and all that. Some of the things that you guys have said, because I gotta know how to combat these things. At least, like I know how, like the ones that set up the lines and all that shit and everything. Pardon my language. I got no problem with those ones. And driving them back and getting rid of all the predator shit and everything that they like to do in their traps. But this is new. This is new. I'm not even that far out. Like I think I'm high enough. I think I'm at about 40. I think I'm at about 4,200 feet right now where I am. So yeah, I've climbed about 800 feet. Yeah, I've probably climbed about 800 feet to get to this cave system. So, like, not climbed, like, you know what I mean, like when you kind of, hoofing through some rough bush up, things that that normal human beings would look at and think you're nuts. But anyways, I don't know what I'm gonna do right now. I know I got a certain amount of light left. Let's see. Zulu time 7:33. Okay, yeah, I got time. I gotta get this girl warm. Like, she's alive, she's breathing, but yeah, I don't even know how to explain any of this. So I hope you guys get this message, and at least everything's okay. But man, this is like. Oh, anyways, I'm gonna try and get going here because it's gonna be a tough wreck back to the truck here. So I took some pictures of the entrance to the cave, and as soon as I saw her though, I just got the hell out of there, and that was it. There's no fire. It didn't look like I did. Anyway, I gotta go. I'm spinning a little bit right now, and I thought that if I could get a message out, maybe even just you guys and comment enough. My mind is good. I know they're around here. There's something. There's two somethings that are looking at me that are not Squatch. So I don't know. But they're staying far enough back away from me. So definitely I gotta get out of here before dark though. So I gotta go.
Here is the picture of the cave that he sent us at the time that he.
Up. Let Jerry do it.
He's so much better at it. That's the cave where he found the young lady, and she had the black pine pitch on her eyes, which we've heard many, many times.
That story is in this book also. It's called The Big Hairy Woman or Big Hairy Woman. She's also in other areas called Basket Woman. The predator Bigfoots, they carry a sack that's made out of their skin, It also goes translucent, or they'll carry a box. What they put people in, or they put food in, they carry it back. We've been on some night vision and some thermals tracks, and we had other trackers tell us that it's got something on its back. It's carrying something on its back. We're like, okay, we knew those were bags, and even in the thermals, it showed the boxes that they were carrying. But that story is also in this book, and he is a professional tracker. He's got his own team up north. He's got a lot of gadgets that he uses, more powerful weapons than what we have here. But everything that we have been teaching and training for, a lot of trackers will give us that confirmation. They'll send it back. We found this in the water. We found the body over here. We found the person over here. This is the ambush area that you were talking about. So we'd like to see if we can have everyone back here next Sunday again so we can finish this up. We want to have a conclusion, an open floor, and then have a discussion on how do we feel, because we have to report back to our children. Are we going to tell our children these are predators, or are we going to tell them these are harmless other entities? But we're going to try to get everyone back here next Sunday, if everyone can be back here so we can have a conclusion.
I'll be here.
Real quick. What were you guys showing? Because I couldn't hear any audio.
It was a tracker who had found a missing person in a cave, and she had the pine tar on her eyes, and she was naked and unconscious, and everything that we had told him prior. Huh?
It was video of that?
No. It was an audio recording that he had sent us. It was a voice recording he had sent us. And then there was one photo we put up of the mouth of the cave itself. And what we can do, Holly, if you were having trouble hearing it, we can just get a hold of you separately and play it.
Okay.
Directly into the phone to you, and that may help.
Okay.
There was a lot of wind going. It was a hard audio to hear.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, we can just send you that link.
Sounds good.
All right. So learned a lot tonight and heard a lot. Thank you.
So
for
let's
sharing
all
this.
meet back up here. Fred couldn't make it.
There's actually still a couple of other people that we really.
Yeah, who were still having problems with their
Yeah.
internet. They were trying to get through. They couldn't get in. And we're not going to wait past this time to see if they can still. Awesome. Yeah, and we appreciate you hanging in there with us so we could get the rest in here. But at least we got to hear B's story. That was a young man, about 19. It just happened to him last year. And he's been going through a lot until now. And this is the first time we could talk about that.
And it's included several trips to the mental health facilities also.
Yeah, he's been having some problems, some suicidal thoughts. So we're going to also talk with B a little bit more, and hopefully we can get her scheduled a little bit better. She had something to do at work and had to stay over late, so that's what kind of threw us off tonight. But if y'all wouldn't mind, if y'all would like to come back for next Sunday and finish this talk up, we would very much appreciate it.
Everyone have a good evening. It's already
Okay, we'll send everybody the links next week. Big Witch out there.
Oh, go ahead.
Now going out that way, up that northern way. We'll see y'all again next Sunday. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Wonderful guest.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see y'all again soon. Good night, Warriors.
Bye.
Are we moving?
So beautiful.
Are we moving?
So weird. The effect's not quite the same on film. So we're on our way in a snowstorm to go try to find someone that's lost in the woods. You'll say a prayer.